I like blue. Blue is my favorite flavor. That said, welcome to our second episode of Hurry Up and Wait. This episode is pretty cool. This episode we're going to be talking to another Marine Corps veteran who turned to become a professional wrestler, known locally in the Southwest as Chris Evans. I had to block out his name because I said his shoot name on accident. So you'll get to meet Staff Sergeant Chris Evans. And should be another fun episode of Hurry Up and Wait. I'm out of crayons, but I got a sticker. So, I don't know. We'll see where this goes. I forget. There's going to be some topics that we touched on like in our first episode. In this episode, that could be very trigger warning. For those who aren't a sound mind or can handle gore talk and life experiences, basically, if you weren't in it and you want to know what it's like, I don't recommend to listen to this story, because we're going to get in deep. We're going to get in very, very uncomfortable places. But that being said, for those who know, well, here's another story. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our second episode of Hurry Up and Wait. As usual, I am your host, Sergeant Derek Ramus, and with me today is a very close personal friend of mine. His name is, if I'm not mistaken, he got out as a Staff Sergeant of the Marine Corps?
Yes, C6 Staff Sergeant, 0369.
So he didn't make it out. One of the good ones, he's a turd burglar. So it is what it is. And like usual, what we do here in Hurry Up and Wait is
hurry up and wait?
Yeah.
Because it's 9 p.m. and you got here at like what? 6:30. We're just now starting to record.
Yeah.
So yeah, we hurried up. I had to get off work and rush through my day, and we're just now, had I known we were going to start recording at 9 o'clock, I wouldn't have had to hurry, but just like the Marine Corps, man, we got to be 15 minutes prior to the 15 minutes prior.
Gunny time. Captain says what? Formation at 6:45. Gunny wants us there at 6:30.
Yeah.
Staff Sergeant wants us at 6:15.
Oh god, it's like the worst days like that I could think of were like hiking days, because it's like you're up at like 3:30 a.m. to be at the armory at 6, and you're like, what are we doing the hours? Why does it take 2 fucking hours to get to the armory when it's like, I don't know. But then it's like, and then you get your stuff, you get the armory, right? You're there at like 6 or whatever, and then like you go back to the barracks, stage all your stuff, and then you're there for like another 2 hours. And you don't step, and then finally, you get there, and then everybody gets in formation. That takes another hour and a half, and then you're not stepping off until like it's fucking 9 a.m. and you got up at like 3:30 to go on a hike at like 9 a.m. I don't get it. It's like, how long does it take to get a fucking weapon in your backpack? You know what I mean? 5 fucking hours.
So to bring all of that back around.
Yeah.
What we like to do on the show is talk about our past history. What did we do when we were before the military? What did we do during, and what are we doing after? So we kind of just got a tidbit of what we all go through, and I appreciate the tangent. It was very, very.
There will probably be a lot of tangents on that.
I'll do my best to keep it together and like try to keep us on track. I'll try. I can't make no promises. With that said, so let's start from tell me a little bit about your past. Tell me what was life before the military. What were you doing as a kid, or you know, what was life like?
Man, so long ago. So I'm pretty much like 40 now. So, no, before the military, I was, you know, pretty, wasn't really good at school or anything. I was in a lot of fights, um, moving from school to school to school, especially in high school. I think I went to like 3 different high schools. Um, but yeah, no, before I just remembered, my uncle who was like raising me at the time, because I used to live with my grandma, but my grandma passed away when I was like 15, 16 ish.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah. I was actually going, like, living at the apartment still by myself, like going to school and like having to explain like why my report card can't be signed. It's like, well, because I don't have anybody, and it's like,
Well, I don't mean to laugh.
no,
It's
no,
not,
it's
but just
fine. It's weird. Huh?
that situation itself is so unironically like awful and funny at the same time.
Yeah, no, yeah, but I mean, at the same time too, it kind of like, that was my life. It was, I was very much raised like, to work hard, but I just, when it came to school, I didn't work hard. I was very much messing around and stuff like that. But I remembered like growing up, one of the people I looked up to the most was my uncle John, and he was in the army. He was a Vietnam vet, and I used to be into like GI Joes and stuff when I was like real little. So when I would see him do the parades in New Mexico, in Silver City, New Mexico, he would get in his uniforms, his camis and stuff, and his beret and like all that, and I'm like, holy shit, it's like he's Sergeant Slaughter. Like, I got a real life like GI Joe for an uncle. Holy crap. So I was always like, I want to be like my uncle when I grow up, so like, um not knowing that to get in the military you actually have to pass high school. So you know what I mean? But the reason why I never like cared was because I've had F's, and like, even though you have F's, they pass you on to the next grade and the next grade and the next grade until you get to high school. I didn't realize that. So when I was like uh, a junior, and then they were like, my uncle was like, you better figure out what you're doing after high school because you ain't going to be in the house. You know what I mean? So I don't know what job you're going to find that you're going to be able to like afford an apartment and stuff, but my whole family is mostly military. Like, he was army too. And so I knew he would tell me about the military and stuff. And then, and I was like, that seems the only safe route to go, as far as having a stable job and a roof over your head, as soon as you're right out of high school. I don't know what other job does that for you, and
Yeah.
full benefits and, 3 meals a day, guaranteed. So I was like, oh, I guess the military is the way to go.
Yeah.
So
What you pay on the back end.
yeah. Yeah. So that was how I got into the military route. I went into the delayed entry program for the Marines. But what's funny was when I went to the ASVAB story is funny because my cousin Paz, we heard about the ASVAB test in high school, right? So all I know is there's a test you sign up for, and you get out of like 3 classes for like a whole week. I was like, what? Sign me up, So he put my name down for me. I didn't even write my name, to get in the ASVAB. And I didn't even try. I didn't even know what the test was. I was just like, what the fuck is mechanics? Oh, math, I'm definitely not good. And it's multiple choice. So I just fucking, if I didn't know the answer right away, I just fucking marked a guess, and I passed.
I mean, you don't fail the ASVAB.
I know, dude. Like, so many people actually try like over and over, and they fail. Like, I didn't even fucking try. And
you get a 12, and they just tell you, "Congratulations, you're a cook.
You're infantry." That was basically me. I didn't get a high score. I'll tell you that right now.
What was your score?
I don't remember. I don't know. All I know is that I passed. But I didn't know what the ASVAB was for. What it was explained to me was it just helps you kind of like figure out what kind of job you would get into in the real world.
Gauges how dumb you are.
But at the time it was explained to me like, yeah, you know, it just shows you like what you'd be good at what job when you get out of high school. I'm like, stupid. Okay, yeah, whatever. Who cares? Like, it's just a stupid test that doesn't mean anything. You know, that was high school me thinking about. Of course, now, yes, study, like try hard. Yes, kids, if you're watching. But
I got a 75 on my test. I could have gone to Air Force. Reason why I didn't is because when I went to their office, they were closed all week. They were cheese decking recruiters. So I went next door to the Marine Corps, and they're like, "Welcome." I was like, "Let's go."
And which leads me up to like the funniest story about why I chose the Marines. Like I said, most of my family's Army. So I wanted to go Army and be a G.I. Joe, right?
Mm-hmm. There's a cat.
Yeah, he's
petting.
He's petting that pussy.
This is how we get canceled.
Yeah.
So tell me about G.I. Joe.
So when I finally made the decision I'm gonna go in the military, there was this recruiting office, and it had all the branches in a row, like literally next door to each other in this one building.
Yep, same plaza. Everybody's seen
yeah,
it.
the plaza. Yeah, it was a plaza.
Yeah.
And I went in. What the hell was that? Did you fart?
No, it's my phone.
Bro, do you need a wipe right now?
No, that's my phone.
That sounded wet, dude.
It's my notification.
It's his phone.
It is.
But yeah, so I just was like, you know, I went to the Army. They gave me the whole spiel and everything. And I was just like, I listened to everything, and I was like, cool. Which one's like the best though? And they were like, they just looked at me and they were like, go see the Marines down the hall. And I was like, okay. And as I walked out the door, I'm like, oh, the Navy's right here. I'm gonna go see what the Navy's all about. Gave me their whole spiel. I listened to everything. They gave me their whole fucking, 30-minute, 40-minute, talk. Then I was just like, again, which one's the best though? And then they're like, go see the Marines down the hall. And I'm like, okay, went to Air Force, same thing. Go see the Marines down the hall. I'm like, why does everybody want me to go see the Marines down the hall?
Probably the fact that it took you 4 times to go see the Marines and your ASVAB score is not high. Yeah. They said you want the best, go ahead. Crayons.
Yeah. And so I go and I remember there was this buff ass like white, country gunnery sergeant fucking dude with full sleeve tats, and I go in and I was just like, I walked in and I was just, he was like, what the fuck do you want? And I was like, yeah, everybody else was like, come on in, like, yeah, sit down, here's our package and here's this. I walk in there and he's like, fuck do you want? And I was just like, oh, I was asking who the best was, and everybody else like told me to come here. And he's like, well, you fucking came to the right place, hard dog. Get on that fucking pull-up bar over there and let me see how many you can do.
Oh, boy.
And I was like, what? Like, okay. Like, I was in just regular clothes, out of school. I was right after school. So I think I did like 32 pull-ups. You saw my pictures of me in high school. I was fucking ripped and jacked.
He was a fat bitch.
So I did like 32 pull-ups, and he was like, all right, he's all okay. All right. Here, and he got a stopwatch, and he was like, see how many crunches you can do in a minute. Did all my crunches, and he was like, all right, tell you what. He's all, you got some time right now? And I was like, yeah, I'm good. He's all, come here with me. We're gonna get in the car. We're gonna go down to the park right at the end of the street. Took me to the park, made me run 1.5 miles. Fucking see how fast I can run 1.5 miles. And then we got back to the house. Then he's like, all right, what do you want to talk about? So it's like, this motherfucker had me do a mock PFT before he would talk to me.
Yeah, the half. Yeah. 1.5 miles in 13 minutes.
So I was like, this might be why everybody says they're the best, because like everybody else seemed like really nice and gentle, and this motherfucker wouldn't even talk to me, like, unless I did a fucking mock PFT. And then he was like, okay, what do you want to talk about? What do you want?
They just sent the dumbass to go get beat up by the Marine guy. That's what that was.
Yeah. I think, dude. What's funny was I think they'd probably thought they would scare me away, but they didn't realize, like, that's what I like. I like hard. I don't like anything to be easy. Like I said, I was always raised to work hard. If I wanted nice shoes or a PlayStation or anything, go get a job. So I did. I was literally on the wrestling team in high school, and I worked at Wiener Schnitzel. I would go like finish school. I would do wrestling practice, and then I would run across the street because I went to Palo Verde High, and across the street there's like a Wiener Schnitzel, and I would run across the street, and then I worked there till closing, and then I'd get home at like 3 a.m. and do my homework and maybe lift some weights in the backyard, and then I'd go to sleep and maybe get like 2-3 hours of sleep and do it all again, like all week. So that was how I was raised, you know what I mean? So by the time I got to the Marine Corps and they want me to like exercise, I'm like, I fucking love exercising. I don't think you guys realize this. Like, you're not, you're not scaring me away, like I love exercising. Like I said, but, yeah. And then, I was 16. So my mom had to sign for me to enlist. So I was in the delayed entry program. And then the war kicked off like a little while after I fucking signed up.
This is what,
and so now I'm like,
this is around 2001, give or take.
Yep, because I graduated in 03. I was in war by 03.
Yeah.
So I was literally right out of high school, right into war. So yeah, when I was in the delayed entry program, like literally like maybe a couple months, all of a sudden the war kicks off, and then my mom's like, what did you get into? And I just remember watching the invasion, the Marines, like sometimes they would put it on the news. And I still remember to this day, I was homesick one day, and I'm watching the live feed of them doing the invasion, and I still remember to this day where I was like, that was fucking awesome. That's who I'm joining. It was a bunch of Marines, and the camera was behind the backs of this line of Marines, and they're behind a berm, and you can see the muzzle flashes coming from this building off in the distance, like through the windows, and you could see that as they're like up against the berm, like taking cover, and some of them are shooting, and they're like taking turns, like popping up and shooting back at this building. You could see the rounds hitting the berm, like that they're getting shot at. And I just remember seeing this one Marine just finally like turn around and sit down, and he's looking around. He's like, hey, give me that fucking thing. And like, this is on like Fox News. And like, give me that fucking thing. And like, you see some other Marine come from like off screen with a fucking AT-4. Oh, he sets this shit up, and he literally like sets it up, and he looks, and he's like, that blast area all clear. And he fucking like stands up, dude, on this berm that rounds are hitting. He stands on top of the berm, sits down on it, goes like this, and just shoots right directly into that window of the fucking where the muzzle flash was coming. That building fucking came down, and all the Marines started like cheering and like, yeah, fuck you, like, and I was like, holy shit, that was fucking awesome. Like,
hella bought into, they hella picked the right video. for the propaganda to get everybody hyped.
But it wasn't a video. It was like a live
No, I
feed.
know,
It was
but,
literally like this newscaster was
Yeah.
like, yeah, we're here live and we're taking
That's
contact,
fucking
like,
awesome.
and that was what happened during that live stream. I was like, fuck yes, dude. Like, that was awesome. But yeah, and then shortly later I was there. Literally not too long after that.
Damn. Okay, well, we got a pretty good idea how you got in. That's wild. Dude, I remember, I think it was in boot camp where they showed I don't want to call it the highlight reel, but all the in-country footage. But then they put it to the two songs I remember was Dead Bodies Everywhere by Korn, and then Tool's Count Bodies Like Sheep. And all it was just a highlight reel of like Iraq and Afghanistan and all the footage.
When I was in Iraq,
like
though, there
that.
wasn't any footage, and
No?
nobody had
Okay.
ever been to combat by the time I got to
Yeah.
boot camp. So like nobody knew any. I remember one time, or I still remember it too because it's funny because like again, nobody had ever been to combat, not even my drill instructors, nobody that like nobody fucking knew nothing about it.
Peace.
I remember
Marine
our
Corps, man.
I remember our DIs were pissed, and they would always tell us like, "You're gonna fucking die. Like you're gonna go to war and you're gonna fucking die. You fucking suck." And sometimes they would sit there and give us these spills like, "I should have been there. Instead, I'm here with you motherfuckers. Like I should be in combat right now, and I got to be here with you pieces of shit." And like, when you guys are just gonna go over there and fucking die anyways.
And
Like,
little did they know they were right. Shit, dude.
But
Fuck.
yeah, and but I remember like none of us knew what combat was, like, and I remember we were inside of one of the Amtraks or something that you be in boot camp before you get out and you do like the live fire like assault thing
Mhm.
where it's like at night. But I remember the DI, like we're all sitting there, we're all just like waiting to do this like assault, and
We'll call this section here. Tell me what it was like when you were in.
yeah, sorry. See, I go
No,
on
you're
tangents.
good.
I talk. I have a
There
bunch
you
of
go.
stories.
So here we go. Now everybody knows we're done with the school or done before.
Yeah,
we're
so
in.
on my 17th birthday, I was in MEPS.
Mm-hmm.
So on my 17th birthday, I was in MEPS. Went to boot camp. So I'm like 17 in boot camp. But like no, like I said, like when I was in boot camp,
Nobody knew.
nobody knew anything. Nobody had ever been to combat. We didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what to expect. Our DIs were really fucking pissed off. I remember that a lot because they felt like they should be there, but instead they're on their special duty assignment, which I get now. But when I was in boot camp, I didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. I'm like, what are you talking? Well, then go. You know what I mean? Like that was like,
Stop screaming.
why are you here then?
Stop
Like, why
screaming
don't
at
you
me.
just go fucking fight then and stop fucking yelling at us? Whereas like now I understand why, you know what I mean? But,
Yeah.
but at
No, for sure.
the time when they're like complaining, I remember all of us were like, dude, why don't these fucking pussies just go then? Like, why are they fucking here then? Like, well, they're probably too scared anyways. Like, like, so we were just like thinking that, but like, no, I remember, like I said, none of us knew what war was. And we hadn't even Saving Private Ryan came out, I think, when either right before or when I was in boot camp.
No, it had to been before.
So,
I remember Saving Private Ryan was like a late 90s, maybe early 2000s.
Well,
So-
yeah, early 2000s. I was in boot camp in early 2000s. That's what I was saying. Because, like, I remember my DI, like, came in and we were, like, in the Amtrak getting ready. And it was so funny because he came in all excited. He was like, all right. He's all, who here knows what we're in right now? And we're all just, like, looking at each other. And he's just like, anybody seen Saving Private Ryan? And, like, we're all just quiet looking. And he's like,
Yeah, no.
y'all motherfuckers are gay.
Saving Private Ryan was 1998.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I thought it was late 90s.
Damn,
Like,
you said early 2000s.
yeah, late 90s, early 2000s. But like,
Holy shit.
98.
None of us had seen it.
No.
We didn't fucking. We were kids, man.
Yeah, we were still fucking babes. I was a wee babe, bro. I was in the third grade in 97, fourth grade.
I don't even think that was probably a movie I'd want to watch at 98, man.
I remember seeing it young, and I was like,
12, 30, I might have been 14 at the time.
If you were 14,
15 or 14
yeah, I was
years
probably
old.
8 or 9. I remember thinking like, wow, what am I watching with this movie? That movie had me like that.
I probably wouldn't have watched it at the time because it was in black and white.
Saving Private Ryan was not in black and white.
When it first came out, it was. They didn't put it in color until later.
Shut up.
I'm serious, bro.
We're gonna have to fact check that later. Are you sure?
I'm positive. But yeah, I remember that being funny because he was just like, who you seeing Saving Private Ryan? We were just like, what the fuck are you talking about? We're just quiet. He's just like, you could just see the excitement leave his face. And he was just like, y'all motherfuckers are gay. And he just like walked out. And we're just like giggling because we're like, what the fuck was that all about? You know what I mean? Like we're trying not to lose our bearings because we don't know if we're going to get fucked up for laughing or not. But we were just like,
Big time.
you know.
Funny. So,
yeah.
where we're at? We're at boot camp. Yeah.
Boot camp. And I remember I got pneumonia bronchitis and was coughing up blood. So I remember getting through boot camp was a struggle because they wanted to drop me. And I was like, I am not staying here longer than I have to.
Oh, God.
And one of the only times, and I think the drill instructors respected me for it because I actually talked to them like a man and not a fucking recruit. Because I was not getting dropped, dude. Like I was more than halfway through because it was the gas chamber. That's what gave it to me. Because what happened was I was fine in the gas chamber. Like I was like chilling, and the DI walked in front of me and saw I was chilling, and he I was no mask. Like I was just stone bog. It just feels like a sunburn, you know. Like this isn't bad.
Okay.
And I'm doing my short breaths, not like taking heavy breaths, so I'm like even breathing in there, you know, like. And he came and he saw me and he punched me fucking in the stomach hard as fuck. And I went, ugh! And I took that deep breath and I just remembered, and I didn't cough. I held it in, like holding in like a puff of smoke, you know, like a cigarette hit, you know, like I was like, and I was like in my head, like, this burns, this sucks. I could feel it swirling inside. And like, so I think holding that in like fucked my lungs up. And so after that, I had this really bad cough all the time, and blood was coming up, and we'd go on runs and my shirt would be covered in blood because it would just come out. Like it must have did something to my lungs. But the DIs were like, you're going to get dropped and I'm going to drop your ass. Like, and I remember one night, I just got up out of my bed, out of the rack. You know, you're not supposed to, but I just got up and the fire watch was like, what are you doing up? What are you doing up? I just ignored him, walked right by, and I walked to the drill instructor hatch and I pounded on it. And he was like, who the fuck is fucking pounding on? And he's like, come in. And like, I walked in. He's like, what the fuck are you up? You know, and I just told him, like, this recruit is like not gonna go to BAS tomorrow. Like, he's like, who the fuck are you to tell me what you're gonna do? And that's when I stopped playing this recruit thing. And I was just like, look, I am not doing this over. I am not starting from the beginning. I was like, I'm going to continue to do this. And if I fail anything, if I fail a PFT, if I can't do the run or whatever, then you can drop me. But until then, like, I'm going to keep going until I fucking fail something. You are not going to drop me over a fucking cough. And he was just like, he just looked at me and he was just like, very well then. The fuck back in your rack. You know, and I was just like, and then I went back to recruit. All right, sir. You know, and I went out and sure enough, like after that, like they never fucked with me. We're on
cool. So we got boot camp. Tell me. So okay, we know the hype going into boot camp. We're at war. You got DIs who are mad at you. People are like, you're fucking telling them that you want to stay after getting hurt.
Yeah.
Tell me about Fleet, or not even Fleet. Let's graze over SOI, which is School of Infantry for those who don't know,
Yeah.
who aren't Marines or freaking, aware of what we do.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit of like School of Infantry, and then tell me about like Fleet. Let's hit that.
Yeah, so
and then we'll
School of
talk about
Infantry
the
actually
plan after.
wasn't that bad. It was actually kind of fun, like it wasn't boot camp. It was kind of like, I don't know, felt like summer camp to me. We're actually shooting guns, throwing grenades, and doing patrols. So like I had blast. Like, yeah, I remember though. Might sound weird to new Marines now, but I remember when SOI was ran a hell of a lot different than when I went back later.
Mm-hmm.
Because in order to go train, you just basically had to volunteer. Otherwise, you were going to sit in a squad bay doing shit chores day after day, like cleaning bathrooms and, stripping the deck and waxing it and stuff, like every day, or just painting sidewalks and, you know what I mean? So like every now and then some Lance Corporal, I remember the Lance Corporals back in the day used to always have their covers like this, basically, like they'd come in, they'd be like, who wants to go train? And we were like, yeah, and like we'd all get up and like rush to the front. He's like, you, everybody else go sit down.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're there for another week doing shit jobs until another spot opened up, and you would just wait, like, who wants to go train? And it's like, fuck, after like 2 or 3 times, I was like, I'm gonna sit in the front every fucking day, so I'm the first guy up, so, and that's how I finally got to do SOI training, was because I was like, oh, I see what they're doing now. It took me a while to figure it out, but I'm like, oh, that's what they mean by go train. I'm like actually go do MOS training.
Yeah.
So it's weird, like you'd have guys that finished boot camp like you finished boot camp way before like other people, and they're going to train before you because you weren't the first one to stand up. You know what I mean? So it's like, it was weird how that worked. But yeah, I went through SOI. It's pretty easy. I remember getting to the fleet was one of the scariest moments of my life, because we got off the bus, and this was Thanksgiving break. So I remember the unit I got to had just got finished with like a 20-mile hike, and this was back when they're all in tricolors. We were the first Marines in the digital camis, so they were still all in tricolor. So we stood out like a sore thumb. But like when I got off the bus, I was in my Charlie's, dress uniform, and I remember getting off the bus, and I remember they were at the top of this in San Mateo. There's a basketball court, and there's these like bleachers, and they were at the top of the bleachers. I just remember hundreds of Marines, shirtless, dirty, grimy, like that. Back then, they didn't even have undershirts on, like it wasn't like super garrison like it is like probably nowadays, but like, faded camis, they took pride if your camis were like damn near white. They're just like, get the fuck up here. And we're all like, oh shit, like we're trying to get our stuff. They're like, leave it. We were late getting there, so they should have been off by like 2-3 hours ago. So some of them missed flights home and stuff like that. So they were not happy. This is Thanksgiving break. They could not go on Libo until we got there and
then walk you around, check you in, and do all that shit and get the signatures you didn't get that
so
day.
Imagine how fucking angry
tomorrow
your unit is when you get there. So I remember finally.
What unit was it?
Echo Company 2-4. Yeah, 2-4 Echo Company.
For those who don't know,
5th Marines.
For those who don't know, we actually were in the same unit.
Yeah.
For like, I don't know, maybe a whole 10 minutes.
Magnificent bastards.
Just fucking seahorses. You got out 2014. I was checking into 2-4 2014.
Really?
I checked in April of 2014. Where were you April 2014?
I don't know. I think I might have been getting out in April too. That's weird.
That's what I'm saying. I'm sure we just like pass each other and shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it probably was like April or June.
I probably said good morning, staff sergeant, and you're like, shut the fuck up. As I'm walking, you're walking out.
Shoot, I was doing truck driving school on my way out too. But yeah, no,
You get to careers soon enough.
yeah, I think yeah, I just remember getting to the top, and I remember I got to the where they all were, and they ripped my Charlies.
Oh, what dicks.
Because as soon as I got to them, they all pushed us to the front of the formation because they were kind of in like a horseshoe while the commander was talking to them, giving their liberty brief.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as I got there, they're just grabbing you and yanking you. So ripping everything, got me to the front, sat me down.
And you know they're doing that on purpose too.
Yeah, and then shoved us down, made us sit cross-legged, and then like I remember the CO like looked at me, and he seemed like really nice. You know, he was just like, "Hey, Marines, like welcome, like 2-4," and he was just like, he pointed at me, "Is all you? What are you doing for the Liberty Thanksgiving Liberty this weekend?" I was like, "Well, sir," and that's all I got out before I was yanked up by my fucking collar and choked. And they basically had me in a choke in front of the company commander, and they're like yelling in my ear like, "You fucking stand up at parade rest when the fucking company commander's talking to you." And I was like, damn, did he trick me with his niceness? You know what I mean? Because I'm used to like popping up, because I am used to like standing up at it in parade rest, you know, when you know, an officer's talking to you, but like I don't know why. Like I think it was just like how nice
He hit you with the
he
Mr. Rogers.
seemed. Yeah, and so so and like I said, what's funny is like this wouldn't happen nowadays, but like literally the CO's watching you getting choked and like, you know, your Charlie's ripped, and
That's some super villain shit.
And
right
after they were done yelling at me, he was just like, "So what are you doing this week?" And I was just like, "Yes, sir. I was just doing it." He's like, "Oh, okay, cool." You know, like he's just like super nice, but like, you know, like after what he just seen, you know, but like,
you know they're in on it.
but like I said, nowadays that wouldn't happen. You know what I mean? Like they wouldn't stand for any of that. But I mean, but back then, you know. And then I remember we got a Liberty brief by our gunnery sergeant, was like, you know, you listen to your fucking senior Marines, and he's all, if they give you a black eye because your ass don't want to fucking listen, he's all, don't come to my office. He's all whining and complaining because you're going to leave my office with another black eye. You know what I mean? And it's like,
I miss those gunnies.
yeah, and it's like you would never hear that nowadays. Like when I was close to getting out, even in 2014, it was so like babied and stuff, you know, that like you would get busted down if you said something like that, you know what I mean? But like back then, it was like normal. Like back then, it was still that time where it's like, "Oh, you want to fuck around? All right, let's go to the bushes. I'm gonna beat the shit
Tree
out
line
of you."
training.
You know what I
Tree
mean?
line training.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, man.
But that was my introduction into the fleet.
Yeah, it was a similar conversation with my buddy in our last episode. It was,
Yeah.
to kind of quote myself, I said, "We cuddled the babies."
Yeah.
The shit out of them.
Yeah, dude.
So, no, it only got worse.
I know I did. That was actually one of my conversations with the sergeant major when I got out.
I don't want to repeat the same story, so you're just gonna have to watch the fucking episode to find out what I said. But it got worse.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, it had to do with the female Marine.
Oh, those were fun.
The first one ever.
Those were fun.
First
to
one to
deal with.
2-4.
Yeah, I've had my run-ins with female Marines on the shooting range, and I had them attached to me once, and they found out real quick I don't give special treatment.
But yeah, so then, all right, I'm sure you're doing a bunch of boot shit, getting beat up, not beat up, but like
Oh, yeah.
all the shit duties.
Dude, it sucked
standing
because
duty.
we stood out like a sore thumb. I was getting hazed by people that weren't even in my fucking unit. You know what I mean? Like, because again, the Marine Corps was in tricolors. We're the first Marines in digital. So we stood out everywhere. I couldn't even go to the PX. As soon as I remember walking across the street going to the PX, and I would hear somebody yelling on a catwalk, "Hey, fucking boo, get over here!" And I would just pretend like I didn't hear them and just hurry up and keep walking, you know?
I remember docs hazing the shit out of junior Marines.
Really, a doc?
Yeah. But you're talking about docs who were they were on the front lines, and they earned the respect of the Marines that were with them.
True.
Like, I've met docs that were older, like not me, not my peers, but like my pappy's docs, and like their docs were cool, but they'd be like, "Doc, you want to get into some of this hazing?" And they let them get in. But then again, I mean, like, that doc was with these dudes and seeing some shit, so it's different. You feel me? Like, I don't know whose life that doc saved, but he did something where they're like, "Yo, you can beat my boots ass."
Yeah.
But they were solid docs, regardless, nonetheless.
Yeah, no. Yeah, Marines and docs, man. Marines take care of their docs.
One doc that comes to mind that, again, he wasn't my doc, but his name was Doc Duckworth. And the way, the esteem that the sergeants and corporals held him to is like, he's had saved their lives or some shit. I don't know exactly his life story, but, you know, it's been years, and I don't remember. There's Marines that I've worked with in my last unit, and I'm like, I don't know their name, but I can still remember Doc Duckworth, and it was like, because the stories were told, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, docs, man. Marines hold their docs, you know. Those are our boys, man. They're just as much Marines as anybody else, you know.
they're in this shit with you.
Yeah. But yeah, and then like I said, when we got to the fleet, and I maybe did like 3 field ops before I went to Iraq. So again, I graduated just keeping this in mind, like how fast things are moving. I graduated high school in 03.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Iraq in 03.
Damn.
I literally went to boot camp 2 weeks out of high school.
Damn.
So,
Damn.
yeah, so I literally graduated high school, went to boot camp, went to SOI, did a couple field ops, went right to Iraq.
So, like, you 3 months
on the
3
job
months of
training.
boot camp, 3 months boot camp, 1 month, so 4 months after high school, 4.5 months. Let's get generous. Throw in the 2 weeks of libo. 5 months after high school, you got your paper, or in your case, the GED, and then they said, "Hello, how are you?"
Yep.
Going.
Yep. On the job training.
Oof.
My only field ops when I got to the fleet, I remember one time they had us put on night vision goggles and then told us to go walk around the backyard in San Mateo on...
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like right behind that gym, that old... I don't know if it's still there or not.
Well, it was there in 2017.
Yeah.
Whether it's there now.
But yeah, we just walked around like First Sergeant Hill and stuff. Like,
the rope got burned off.
really?
Mm-hmm.
From the fires?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a... I don't know if you saw on my wall, but I have a Navy and accommodation medal for the fires during the California wildfires. By myself, I evacuated like over 3,000 civilians. So,
Where the fuck were you?
SOI.
Oh, you were instructor at that point?
No, I was doing like office work.
No, I'm talking about
yeah.
2014. The fires in 2014. You might have had just left. I had just checked in. We just moved in.
No, that wasn't during then. But
no,
I know
all of base.
I know part of SOI burned down
Well,
when I did all that.
yeah, no. There was another fire.
There's a bunch of fires.
Yeah.
There was ash when I first got to SOI as a boot. There was a lot of ash.
This one took all of Corno, SOI, and then it was coming up on us, and it got the mountain, and it actually got to the rope. They were able to get a truck up there to save the pull-up bar, right?
Yeah.
But the rope got burnt.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my one field up, was just to walk around night vision goggles while my seniors took turns sleeping, and they had us up all night just walking around, like not really
What a way to waste
doing
time.
anything, just fucking walk with NVGs, get used to it all night from like 6 p.m. to like fucking 6:30 in the morning, and then we'd go on a run, and then we finished our day. So it was like 2 days no sleep, just for the hell of it, just to keep us awake and fuck with us, you know. And then my next field op was learning ambushes, and so we would just do a patrol, maybe like 50 meters, just go up and over a hill, get in an L formation, and with live rounds we got to shoot at a pile of rocks. off in the distance.
Yeah, by the time I was there for 2014, by that time they were not letting us shoot rounds into the rocks because we're so close to the housing because of like base housing.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have that little makeshift town back there, but yeah, no.
Yeah, and then my third field op,
Howitzers were allowed to be shot still, but
yeah,
not live rounds. Live rounds only at the range.
yeah, my third field op was a joint training operation with the British Royal Marines, and we went to some, I think it was an Air Force base, their condemned housing unit, and we practiced like raids and stuff like that there with like actual houses and kicking in doors and breaking them down, and houses that they were going to demolish anyway, so they let us go in there and fuck it up and throw flashbangs and stuff and not understand a fucking word they were saying to us. I remember they were talking about some analogy about getting the blonde at a bar. And we were just like looking at each other. We're like, oh yeah, it's like getting a blonde at the bar. Yeah. Like, what the fuck are they talking about? Like, but
Fish and chips is fish and French fries.
yeah. So
Sticks and French fries.
yeah, and then after that, I was pretty much on to Kuwait. And that was my first time seeing a dead body.
Jesus.
Not even in Iraq yet, and it was my best friend.
Oh shit.
He killed himself. So that was the first time.
And were you guys were you back like on base or were you like out in the field?
No, it was on base. And this was before like they had buildings and stuff. Like the second time I went, like everybody was still in tents in Kuwait, you know what I mean? Like we were just there to acclimatize and just be intense. But yeah.
If you want to talk about it, what happened to your best friend?
Well, I remember I was on Firewatch, and I got woken up for Firewatch, and he was still awake, and he was actually the one I was supposed to wake up next. To stand watch, so he was right after me, but I noticed like he was awake the whole time. He was under his poncho and I could see like the flashlight on underneath, and I just remember walking up and I was like, hey dude, why are you still awake, man? And he just looked really down, because he got his ass chewed by our platoon sergeant earlier that day. And so he was just down. He was writing a letter, I think, to his mom or something like that is what he told me. And I was just like, why you look all sad? I was like, dude, so what? You got your ass chewed. I was like, I get my ass chewed all the time, which I did at that time. Like, I always got my ass chewed, man. Like, by my squad leader, my platoon sergeant. Like, I was numb to it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the when he's like all butthurt because he normally probably didn't get chewed out a whole lot from what I remember. But I did, so I was like, fucking cares, man, it happens, no big deal. And he was just like, no, I know this. I was like, all right, man, well, you're on in like 30 minutes. So then he's like, okay, and I'll just get dressed now. And he got dressed, and then like when it was time, I was like, all right, man, you ready? And I relieved, and we did the whole relieving thing, and I'm like, all right, man, night, I'm out. Fell asleep, and next thing I know, I'm getting yanked out of my cot by my foot and slammed onto the floor. And they're like, my squad leader and team leader were all pissed, and everybody's like chewing my ass because nobody got woken up for the time we were supposed to get up. And so we were all late to something. I don't remember, it's so long ago, but I remember they're like, why the fuck? We're like, you fell asleep on watch, you piece of shit, like, and all this. I was like, no, I didn't. I was like, I woke up the next guy before me. They're like, who'd you fucking wake up? And I was like, so and so. And I'm keeping names, just to not embarrass anybody. Or
you're fine. You're fine. You share as much as you
keep
want.
names out,
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
So I was like, so they went to look for who I woke up, and I was like, I woke up so and so, and they were like, they went over, he wasn't there. Oh shit. And I was like, where the fuck is he? You fucking lying to me? And I was like, no, he's awake. He was awake. That's why he's probably not in his rag. Like, he probably fell asleep. So we're like, So we went outside the tent looking, nowhere to be found. We're like, where the fuck did this motherfucker? We checked the head, or whatever.
Mhm.
Maybe he's fucking in the bathroom. Maybe he fell asleep on the toilet. I don't know. You know how fucking boots are.
Mhm.
You try to sleep when you can.
Yeah,
You can sleep standing up. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
we're, like that's what we were thinking. Like fucking maybe he fell asleep on the toilet or some shit. Nowhere to be found. Started combing the desert, like middle of fucking nowhere, where you could see. It's all flat land, but they had us out there walking till literally combing the desert, and we get notified that somebody had found him, and like his head was fucking blown off. I think he used a squad automatic weapon, a saw, offed himself, and man, I just remember bawling my eyes out like a lot of us, and that was like my first time like witnessing like death. I hadn't even gotten to Iraq yet.
Where'd they find him?
I don't remember. I think it was maybe the church.
Oh shit.
I think maybe the pastor found him.
Shit.
If I remember right. It's been so long, but
No, I mean,
I
it's
think
fucking-
that's what happened. Like when you witness like traumatic events, it's almost like your brain tries to like
Packs it away.
get rid of it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like how it is when it like I could remember some things that aren't like traumatizing but
Mhm.
stupid, and I can remember it vividly.
Mhm.
It's the bad shit that's almost like kind of fuzzy, and then, like I have to really
I'm pretty sure that's your brain, your subconscious trying to protect itself.
Yeah.
Protect you from
Oh yeah.
it. And
And I'm sure a lot of you got vets out there, you probably experience the same thing, like you've been through something, you're just like, man, I don't remember. And it's like, you were there, you've been through some shit, but you can't remember like the little
I mean,
details.
I can only imagine like especially if something happens and it's all happens so fast and in a blur, and you realize, man, I never realized like it all went down so fast, and before you know it, it's over.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just remember like bawling my eyes out. And I remember like, holy fuck, like this is real. Like somebody just died. We hadn't even got to combat yet. You know what I mean? Like that's like what I was thinking in my head, and like what the hell did I get into? Like there's people dying already. Like and then we got into Iraq, and then I remember our first night there. It's dark, and the army was there, and the army like welcomed us in, and we're like, all right, this is your guys' AO now, we're leaving. You know what I mean? But
no chill.
yeah, they were like, we get there and they brought us in like this room, and they were like, okay, and we started getting mortared. So like there's fucking sand falling from the roofs, like they hit us like boom, and we're like, holy shit. And he's just like, and they're like calm, they're like, oh yeah, they do this every Wednesday, we call it Mortar Wednesday. Don't worry about it, as long as you guys stay in your hooches, you should be all right. They hold up pretty well, because it's like this cement like car repair place that we were at. I think that's what it was. It was like a car repair shop area that we eventually fortified and used it as our base, and right across the street from a college. But yeah, sure enough, every Wednesday we'd all get mortar. But that was my welcome home thing. It was like, oh, Mortar Wednesday, cool. This happens every Wednesday. We get bombed.
So we
Sweet.
touched on it a little earlier. Where we at? Okay, we touched on it a little earlier. It was you were showing me the pictures of like how everything went. So you get there, you're I mean, it's a shit show. So like you told me earlier, we mentioned it. You telling me about the car shop, how it was bare bones, and you guys just showed up and started digging. Tell me about like the fortifying of the base and your vehicles and everything.
Oh
the
yeah,
trends
yeah.
you set.
So yeah, I got pictures, and I was showing them here in this. This is back before digital cameras, so I have it all on. And I remember, and there's
film.
Yeah, film, and there's dead body pictures on this, which I didn't even know was illegal to get developed like at Walmart or something, but I don't think that was a thing back then, you know, because again, I was one of the first Marines like in combat, like after the initial invasion. So I literally got those developed at Walmart. I remember like the lady looking at me like when she handed me back my film and stuff, and I was like, oh, thanks.
I remember that, and then this is a little more into the future, but Walmart. It was they wouldn't print, I think, the Confederate flag or the American flag. It was during the flag hating era.
Yeah.
But then somebody said, "This is my Muslim country flag," and it was ISIS's black flag.
Oh,
And the moron in Walmart was like, "No, yeah, I'll print this flag on your cake." And he's like, "Oh, it's like
on your cake?
yeah, a Muslim flag," thinking it was something, you know. He's like, "No, it's ISIS's flag."
I don't think ISIS was a thing when I was in the military.
No, they were after.
So yeah, like I was saying, got the pictures here, but I'll have to send you them digitally.
Yeah.
So that you can probably, as we're talking, post this up and stuff. And literally back when I was in Iraq, we didn't have, like I said, we took over a car repair place that the Army had taken. And we fortified it literally with sandbags and plywood and literally built it from scratch. And that base was used for many, many years to do operations out of. But there was literally a gigantic hole in the middle of our base. And that was because when we first got there, if you weren't sleeping and you weren't on post, you were digging and filling sandbags. Mm-hmm. So you never slept and you were constantly digging and fortifying. And that's all we did, like almost the whole deployment. It's like going on these long 20-click patrols that started like, I don't know, like at 5:30 in the morning, and you didn't get back to like maybe 8 o'clock at night. That's how long it took. Like you're out there patrolling, and it's just one giant circle around Ramadi, and but it was because like it took so long because you either got attacked or blown up by an IED, or you found an IED and you were waiting hours for the Army to get there with their robots to take it out. You know what I mean? So like, and then you'd have to cordon off the area, and you were just sitting out there, you know, like, so it was fucking long days, man. Just long, going through countless boots because we were walking so much. And again, 20 clicks, like almost every day. Like, your boots just got worn out, soles falling off.
I'm gonna do some quick math. I want to see what
20 clicks. That's 1,000 meters is a click.
Yeah.
So that's 1 grid square.
20 kilometers
on a map.
20 kilometers, 2 miles. 12 miles. 12.4 miles. And that's probably on a straight walk, right? So if you're gonna break it up in a square, I mean, as a crow flies, as they like to say, it's 12.4. So you fucking put that in the circle.
But also that that doesn't account for going up and down stairs if you're searching a building. You know,
absolutely.
What I mean?
You're not just
we're not just walking.
Stroke. No.
Yeah,
like,
we're doing searches. We're doing maybe getting into a firefight.
You were busy today.
You know, on top of having to walk 12 miles. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's like, yeah, I don't know if you guys ever walked 12 miles just in a day. In your normal day, but on top of that being a gunfight or something crazy happen, you know what I mean? Or up and down flights of stairs, you know, searching houses.
It's like, it's a bad joke, and the punchline isn't the firefight. The punchline isn't
you're exhausted.
The punchline is you're still gonna walk these 12 miles.
You're exhausted. Not only just walk 12 miles, but you're wearing 200 pounds worth of gear. You know, your Kevlar is 10 pounds. Your vest with sappy plates, that's like probably 50, 25 pounds. I was a saw gunner, so you're a saw gun back then without a retractable. They didn't have retractable butt stocks either. And we had the big long nose too, the long barrel. So that thing, I think, is, if I remember correctly, was 23 pounds or 22,
some shit like
22 point something pounds. A barrel is 10 pounds. So I would have a barrel on my gun, a barrel, on my vest, and then 2 barrels slung. And then you got your Camelback, your canteens, grenades. Adds up, man. Over 200 pounds.
You're
easy.
preaching. You're preaching. I've seen it. By my time, they didn't give us grenades.
Yeah. So imagine,
they didn't trust us.
I'm carrying 200 pounds worth of gear, 12 miles up and down stairs, 120-degree weather.
And let's talk about that. You're the second most popular girl to dance, the first being the radio operator. Kill the guy with the antenna and kill the guy with the biggest gun.
Bro, I was the fucking lead guy clearing houses too, man. That's definitely not conventional. They just knew, like,
tell me,
hey, let's put the machine gunner in the front of the stack.
Tell me how they didn't like you without telling me. They didn't like you.
Imagine being the first one up a set of stairs holding a gigantic fucking saw. Like
the chain. No, your rounds are just dangling.
Yeah, you're just like going, like, fuck. But I was the boot, so you're first. And it didn't matter what weapon you had. Like, they didn't go off of the books.
Corporal or corporal.
Yeah, they didn't go off books. They went off of, like, your rank, like, not how tactically you're supposed to.
Corporal wants to go home. He don't give a shit about the meat shield PSE.
Yeah. So,
I had a disclosure that I said this last time in the last episode with Scott. It was we don't laugh at the trauma because we're sick fucks. Yeah. It's like we laugh because it's this insufferable pain that you went through that it was so ridiculous.
It's just I think we laugh, like, but honestly, that's what we do in the military. You could be in the worst place in the world watching people die, and you're just like, you just have to laugh.
It's your coping mechanism.
It's like if you let everything get to you, you're done. You're fucked. Like, if it's like negativity spreads like a cancer, and it's true. Even we talked about Bridgeport, fucking sucked. A lesson I always taught my guys, and this was the thing. Even in Iraq, we always fucking found something to laugh at. But I remember even Bridgeport, we got rewarded for being positive and laughing and being funny. Our instructor one day drove up on his like four-wheeler up to where we were up in the mountains.
Oh, so you were there during the spring?
Yeah.
Summer.
Okay. Yeah, summer. So it was hot as fuck up there, but there was still snow because we were at the very top. It was hot, but it was like
fucking Bridgeport is 70s, bro.
No, it was fucking. Let me tell you, it's hot up there, man. But no, I remember we were just, your legs hurt, the elevation's hard to breathe. It's like you're fucking dying. Like, people are dropping from elevation sickness.
Preaching to the choir.
And I remember they came up and they were like, "Hey, what do you guys want from the PX down at the bottom?" And we're like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, I want to do something for you guys, because when I go out to these other fucking platoons out here, they're all fucking miserable. They're bitching. They're complaining. They're fucking..." And he's like, "Every time I come to you guys always make me laugh. You guys are like, you're just so funny. You're like not bothered by anything." And it's just like, in our heads, we're like, no, we hate this place. But again, like, we had to laugh, because if not, you're going to be like these other fucking platoons bitching and complaining, and it's just going to drive morale down. You're going to suck at all the operations. Like, whereas us, we made it fun.
Yeah.
Even though
embraced the suck.
Yes. False motivation is what we used to call it too. False moto, dude.
That too.
I remember just hating life, sitting there with my lieutenant.
Oh yeah.
And I had this like guy in my squad, like, his name was Chavez. He was my rock. Like what I mean by rock was like dumb as fuck, but strong as an ox. You know what I mean? He was so fucking dumb. I don't think he understood what pain was or what being in a shitty place was. It was almost like blissful ignorance.
Did he go to 4 different recruiters' office asking for the best?
Probably. No, but before we went to Iraq, the second time I went to Iraq, because I was a leader this time, this guy that I'm talking about, Chavez, man. I'm not going to say his first name, but it was just Chavez. And I remember before you go to the second time I went, this is now people understand that you have like concussions and TBIs and all that. So the first time I went to Iraq, they didn't do this. But the second time I went to Iraq, it was mandatory that you take this like brain test thing.
Oh,
you know, like
I know the
it's
test.
like, what color is this? Blue.
Yeah.
What shape is this? Triangle.
I remember seeing that test. I think I took it once.
They explain it to you that this test is not pass or fail. This is just to get a read on your brain that it fucking works. Chavez could not pass this unpassable, unfailable test. Couldn't pass it. And so when I tell you he was my rock, he was my fucking rock, dude. He's like dumb as fuck. Couldn't pass a test to see if your brain fucking works, dude. Like, you don't know what fucking shape, like, because literally I was like, the guy running the test, you know, I got done with it and I'm, you know, waiting for all my guys, you know, and then I see, you know, he's the last one. I was like, Chavez, hurry the fuck up, dude. Like, it's not hard. And he's, "Oh, Sergeant." And that's how he talked. "Oh, Sergeant." And then like he got done and like passed it in. And the guy, the civilian, like doctor running the test, calls me back and he's just like, "Hey, I need one of your guys didn't like pass the test." And I was like, "I thought you said you couldn't fail it." And he was like, well, you can't, but he needs to retake it. And I'm like, "Why?" And he was like, he didn't answer these questions right. And I'm like, "What do you mean? These questions are hard." It was like, what shape is this? Like, what color is it? You know what I mean? Like, when were you born? What's your name? You know what I mean? Like, what do you mean he didn't pass it? And I remember giving him shit. I was like, "Chavez, you didn't pass the fucking brain test, dude. What the fuck is wrong with you?" And he's like, "I don't know, Sergeant." And I was just like, "You better fucking pass it because I'm not coming back here again." You know what I mean? Like, because I had to be there with him, you know? And, but yeah, and I just remembered, like, we were in Bridgeport and I was just like sitting there with my lieutenant. I was like, and we were just hating life. And I was just like, "Hold on, sir. I got something for us." "Chavez!" You know, and he's way down at the end. And he's like, "Hey, yo, Sergeant." You know, I was like, "Come here." And like, he'd come over and he comes over, he's like, "Yo, Sergeant." And me and the lieutenant just started laughing. And we're just like, "Nothing, Chavez. That's all I needed."
Don't fucking change.
"Yeah, that's all I needed. Thank you. You can go." And he's like, "All right, Sergeant." And he just like walks off and we're just like laughing. And I was just like, I wish sometimes I was like that. Like, just not a care in the world. Like, I'm just too dumb to even realize like what pain or suffering is. You know,
It's over.
It's just, I'm just living this life with, you know, no regrets, no feelings or emotion, just
and
blissful ignorance.
And we want the superpower of ignorance to get through fortifying this base, because it's dig, hike, not die. Literally in however, whatever order you wanted to fucking cut it is.
Yeah, man. So
what else? What else did you have to do to get by? Or tell me about the Humvees.
Oh yeah, so I was showing him pictures of our Humvees.
We'll put them up.
We actually invented armored Humvees. My unit was the ones to invent basically, and I showed him our prototypes. And so when you look at our prototypes and you see how armored Humvees are today, you know where it came from. It came from my unit and how we did it. So what we would do is we got to Iraq. We had the old school Vietnam Humvees, man, plastic side doors, you know, the flappy doors and the fenced, the wooden gate backs. No armor. We did not have armored Humvees. So when we got there, the Iraqis were fighting us, gunfights, face to face. You know, they realized after a couple months they were no fucking match for us. Like tactically, nothing. Like they did not stand a chance. And they resorted to IEDs. We didn't know about IEDs when we got there. In fact, how we checked for IEDs was we would see a can or something or a pile of dirt on the side of the road and we'd go, nope, it's good. It's good. I'm still alive. It didn't blow up. That was literally how we did IED checks.
That's nuts.
It was IED check was go kick it. See if it blows up. You're just like, nope. And then we noticed they were putting IEDs in piles of sand on the road, on the side of the road. So what we would do is during those 20-click walks, if we saw a pile of dirt like this high, with our feet, our hands, and we'd get it until it was completely flat. And even then, probably blew up the guy like at the end of the squad. You know what I mean? So like I remember that happened one time. Like I got a pile down till it was flat. I was like, cool, clear. Walked, and then the person like at the very end of the squad got blown up. You know, like fuck. You know, like shit.
There was still like a couple inches under.
Yeah.
Jesus, you only made it easy.
But even then, it was like how crazy does that sound? Like, could have been me, could have been anybody. You know what I mean? I always told people that like I did not make it back from my first deployment. None of us did. Not a single one of us made it back from my first time in Iraq because of skill. It was luck. Because those fucking IEDs, man. Like, you could not prevent it. The second time I went, man, we had jammers on Humvees, you know, and all this. But like I said,
Scotty was telling me about the Warlocks, Warlock jammers, and I'd heard about them, but I didn't know.
Yeah, they didn't have none of that shit the first time I went.
So yeah,
I went to Iraq twice, once in 03 and then another in 06. And when you went in 06, man, the training was better, our equipment, technology. Fuck, man, you had internet in the Humvees, like, you know what I mean, like a police scanner type thing, you know, like Cypernet, I think is what it was. But yeah, we didn't have none of that the first time I went. It was literally like old school, man.
Just a bunch of dudes walking around.
Yeah, with gear that from the fucking Vietnam era. You know what I mean? That was actually the first time we got ACOGs because we didn't qualify with ACOGs like they do now. It was still iron sights. When we got to Iraq, we I think either they gave it to us in a Kuwait, and we didn't really know how to zero them or anything. So I remember in the middle of a gunfight, we couldn't hit somebody. We're like, these fucking things suck. You know what I mean? I remember like after that, we were like, these things don't work. And then we realized like the armorer was like, no, you got to like zero them out and like BZO them. And we were like, what the fuck? Like, oh, okay. How do we do that? And I remember we were like on base, you know, like, you know, if we weren't digging, like I remember they set up a little makeshift like BZO range on the middle of our base, you know, like we're like, all right, reading instructions like how to fucking zero these fucking ACOGs, you know, like literally figuring it out on the fly, man. Like we didn't have that shit it's like it is wild. Today, you know, like it was so weird how unprepared that we were, but we made do, man. We held a city twice the size of Fallujah. I still remember on the news, with less Marines than Fallujah had.
I still remember hearing on the news that we have our troops overseas and their Humvees have no armor. And I remember being a kid, I was like, that fucking sucks. Like, why would they be in war and they're just in tarp Humvees?
Dude, an IED would hit a Humvee and kill everybody in it.
Trap, bro. Turn that shit into like.
Dude, I remember
yeah.
one time we were on a convoy, and I remember going right past this car that was on the side of the road. It was a VBIED, and it blew up the Humvee behind me. And again, we're in these fenced Humvees, you know, we're literally standing up in the back of the Humvee. The gunner is standing there, and I showed him it was a makeshift pole that we welded in the middle.
We'll put a picture up.
That you put a fucking machine gun or a saw on, you put a pin in there to keep it there. And then everybody else is just basically like crouched down in the back, hoping to God you don't get fucking hit by an IED. But this VBIED blew up the vehicle behind me, and I remember it was like slow motion, dude. It was like when your brain is like in that moment, it can slow time down. Like when I got shot, I could see the bullet coming. You know what I mean? Like your brain can literally stop time. It's weird. And then you'll know because we'll go into aliens and stuff later. Like consciousness and stuff, you can actually slow down time. And I, you know, after I study this and I'm like thinking back to like my Iraq days, I'm like, holy shit, like I actually did that a few times where like you can slow down time so much that you could dodge something.
That's like that's almost like
Matrix
or
yeah,
on a science, like on a physiological level, like
yeah,
the adrenaline, the whole like
yeah, because your
ultimate survival mode, right?
Yeah, ultimate survival.
Not
to
to
the
quote-
point where your brain can function almost faster than time is moving.
I don't want to quote Dragon
You know?
Ball, but it's like the ultra instinct.
Yeah,
Like,
dude,
you're
because
literally the most peak
yeah,
survival instinct you're
I
ever gonna
remember
have.
hearing that explosion, like, and that was all I got to hear before. No more sound. Not that I got hit, but there was no more sound. And I remember ducking down and looking back because I heard the explosion. I just see this huge ball of fire and smoke. And I don't even see the Humvee behind us, but I see the smoke, and then I see the Humvee come through the smoke up on its front two wheels. So it was driving, got hit, blew it up like that. And it was still going, but on its two front wheels. And I could just see Marines just flying out the back, just in the air. And I was like, what the fuck? You know, like, and I just see it hit, boom, boom, and steer off and like hit into like a ditch or something, and just bodies all over the road. And like, I was like, stop the car, you know, like we stopped.
Were you able to
hauled
get,
ass
were you able to
backwards.
get your boys back, like at least with the bodies and shit? Or
Oh yeah. We like, man, I had, because I'm the turret gunner, so I have to stay in the back of the Humvee. So we're the car in front. So once we stopped, we haul ass. He just put it in reverse, went backwards, told him to stop. Everybody dismounted, created like a cordon.
525.
Yep, cordoned off the area. And then the doc and other Marines were taking all the bodies. And I got two bodies in the back with me. But I remember the first guy they gave up to me was missing, like, his leg was barely hanging on, like, by, like, a piece of skin on the side. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you can see the bone and everything, like, right through it. And he's screaming and screaming. And
My God, he was conscious.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus.
He is just screaming. And I lift him up and I pulled him back into the back. And then I see they're like, hey, we got another one. And I'm like, okay. And I get this other guy. He has a bandage around his head. Not conscious, but breathing.
Doc got to him fast.
Yeah. And they just said, hold his head. Make sure this bandage doesn't come off. And I'm like, okay. So I'm like trying to pick him up into the back of the Humvee, you know, while holding the back of his head, because I guess he had a hole in the back of his head and his brains were hanging out. I didn't know that at the time until the guy with the missing leg tripped me. So as I'm picking him up, the guy freaking out with the leg grabs my leg as I'm trying to walk backwards with this guy holding his head and pulling him up into the Humvee, grabs my leg and he's screaming. I'm like, let go me. And trips me. I fall back and the guy's like on top of me. The bandage came off the back. So his brains are on me like that.
Jesus Christ.
And I was just like, oh shit. You know, and this guy's pulling me next to me, you know, and I got this guy here. I'm laying in the back, and the one of the docs peeks over the railing of the Humvee, the fence, the wooden fence thing. And he was like, hey, he's all, give this to him. He's all here. And he gives me an adrenaline shot. And he was like, take the cap off. He's all, put it in the wound of his leg, like jam it in there hard. And he's all, and hold it for like 3 seconds. And I'm like, fuck. And he's pulling on me and I'm trying to listen to the instructions. I'm trying to hold this guy's brains in. And, you know, so there's a lot going on, screaming, you know, it's chaos. And this doc's like trying to calmly tell me these instructions while this guy's screaming and pulling and I'm trying to hold his brain. And I'm like, okay, all right. And I just, you know, take the cap off and I literally just go, bam, and I hold it. I was like, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, you know, and the guy screamed and grabbed me even harder when I jammed that in his open wound, you know, on his leg. And he's like, ah, and then literally just was like, oh. You know, like, you know, he just slowly started fading, and I was like, okay, good, you know, and I just spent the whole car ride just holding this guy's like brains in. And I'm like, you're good, dude. You're good. You're going to make it. You're going to make it, man. You're all right. You're doing good. And he was just going like, like, that's all I could see. Like, I'm like, okay, he's breathing. I can see some like tears, you know, like, but I'm just like talking in his ear, you know, just like, hey, you're going to make it. You're all right.
How do you function when your brain's out of sight of the brain housing group? Like you're like your skull's missing and your brain's chilling. I just feel like the air is oxidizing your brain. Like, not to be funny, is just how are you even functioning without your brain?
There's different parts of your brains control different parts of functions in your body. You know what I mean?
But it's exposed.
So this is the back of your head. So I'm an OTA, so I went to college for this. So I never actually thought about that until you asked me right now. But back here, this is your occipital lobe. It's occipital because it's your optical. So the back part of your brain controls your eyes. So if this was here, his eyes were closed. That part of your brain doesn't control your breathing and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So so that's how he was probably functioning.
So
you know
he had if he had to have any piece of his brain exposed, he had the right part exposed, I guess, or
probably,
just like,
yeah,
like,
you know, because you got your left and right hemisphere, you know, and you got, you know,
your brain's hanging out of your head, dude. Like,
yeah,
God bless his soul.
Yeah. The second time I went too, I had 2 junior Marines get sniped, bullet holes in the head, and they were still alive, but they were, again, eyes closed, but you could see tears. They were breathing, you know. So it's like they're probably aware, but not like fully functional, I guess. You know what I mean? Because it's certain parts of your brain still working, other parts not.
It's just missing.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, like there's people that survive gunshot wounds to the head or have half their head caved in. You know, you ever see those videos?
Yeah, have you seen the story about the dude who? It's like an old mining story from like the 1800s or something. They were using dynamite in holes to widen holes, and they ended up like stuffing it with a pike, right? Just a metal rod. And something happened when dude jammed the rod. He was moving it. He accidentally scraped the wall too hard with the rod, and it sparked, and the dynamite exploded, and the rod shot, up through his like here and out his head.
Yeah.
And he was still able to live and function, and they won't just clean it out.
Yeah,
You know, he
I'm
wasn't.
sure he had some issues, but it's like certain parts of your brain only control
Yeah, like
certain
dude was
parts
never
of your
right
body.
ever, but
Yeah.
after that, but he was still alive. I'm just like, I think they left the rod in his head, or it went through. I don't remember exactly what the
Yeah.
story was, but
I don't think the guy made it. From what I understand, the guy that I had with the
Mhm.
brains, I don't think he made it.
that's wild.
But yeah, that was. And again, there's so many parts of of that deployment that were like that. Man, I've had to police call Marines' body parts from literally getting blown in half, like putting it in trash bags, literally like getting online as like pick up all of his pieces. We're not leaving anything for these motherfuckers.
Shit they
And
don't
it's
tell
like
you about,
shit.
man.
Really, like, so I literally remember having like just pieces. I don't even know what I have. Like, I'm just pieces of meat, like here, and I'll just go to a trash bag where I see his upper torso. Like, they open the bag and it's literally just looking right up at me, and I'm like, here you go, buddy. You know, like whatever this is that I have, either guts or flesh or, chunks of scalp,
Yeah, just
whatever the fuck I had, like, here you go. Sorry, buddy. Like, uh, yeah, so many, man, so many times like that, man. Like, it's just crazy, all the dead bodies I've seen. I remember the worst part, those dead bodies I showed you in the pictures. We had, once we were done like identifying or doing whatever with them, we had to do a mission to drop them off at a Iraqi control point, basically like a police station control point. So me and another boot, because we were both boots, had to load these bodies that were sitting in a room for like a week rotting. Yeah, dude, open that door, dude, in 100-some degree weather room, like in the desert, like it stunk, dude. I've never seen so many flies and maggots in a room in my entire life. Oof. And it smelled. I couldn't stop gagging, and like other Marines, I don't know if this watching from a distance were laughing their ass off because we could not get near. We had to load all these bodies into a Humvee. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we had to load these like bodies into a back of a Humvee. There's probably like 4 or 5, maybe, and they smelled so bad, and I could not stop gagging. Like, me and my buddy, we couldn't lift them because we were just constantly, like. And nothing's coming out because we're malnutrition anyway. There's nothing for us to throw up. We didn't have food and water hardly either. So it was like, but like we went and got our gas masks. That didn't fucking work.
That's not meant to filter.
No, but we didn't know that. But we were like, let's get our gas mask, dude. Like, nope, didn't work. And eventually, like, like we picked they're in body bags too. Mm-hmm. And the body bags are filled with blood, like out of the body or whatever fluids. So when you picked up the body bag, you can feel like the slushing around of, and I remember, you get in, you're lifting one part of the body into the Humvee. So it comes up. So all the blood and stuff rushed down to the end I was holding, and it splashed up in my face. I had blood and just stuff all over my shirt, my face, and I dropped that body so quick and ran and was like puking, like dry heaving, and like and these Marines, there's Marines on post. Like just laughing. That I could just see
of course they're laughing.
Dude, there's people taking pictures of us, just watching us go through this whole ordeal.
Oh my God.
Of just constant gagging. Trying to load these bodies. Just me and this other guy, man. And then to top it off, once we got them loaded, that was my Humvee that I had to be the turret of. And as you can see, the turret is in the back.
Yeah.
This isn't like the turret's in the middle between the driver or whatever like it is now. It's in the back with the dead bodies. So I couldn't stand anywhere. I had to stand on the bodies. But when you're on back then, since the Humvees didn't have armor, you didn't want to stand in the back of a Humvee because if it got hit by an IED, you're dead. So I had to lay down in the prone position on these like 4 dead bodies the whole ride, gagging. So I'm just laying there full of maggots, flies, smells like the worst smell you could ever fucking think of. And get to the fucking the police checkpoint thing, and I got up real quick. I put the gate down and I just grabbed them by the ankles and was just throwing them out the back onto the street. And I was like, I looked at the fucking police officer and he was just like the Iraqi police, and he was like, what the fuck? You know, like I'm psycho, you know, but like at this point, man, we're all so numb, you know, to like the dead bodies, the killing, and all. Literally, I just, without any regard, just grabbing them, just throwing. You can hear the skulls clacking off the, you know, the road as I'm throwing them out. And I was like, you see that? You keep fucking with us. I was like, there's gonna be more.
Jesus Christ.
And like, because I think some of the people we killed were Iraqi police and were Iraqi army, because they were, we would train them and they would turn on us. You know what I mean? So it was like,
that's wild.
It was very corrupt. You know what I mean? Like all these fucking people that are supposed to be on our side,
they'll get the free training and fucking
they were fighting us.
Okay,
so.
Damn, like that's wild. All right, so we might edit some of that shit out, or we just leave it in. But with that said, okay, so you go, you do your 2 tours, you come back alive, maybe not so well, but you're back. And let's fast forward 2014, you're ready to get out. You're coming, you're going home. You decide you want to make a life for yourself after you get out. Tell me about that, and where'd you go when you got out, and where are you now? You know?
Yeah. So, when I got out, was really scary. And if you're watching this and you're still in, do not believe what your leadership or anybody tells you, that you're not going to make it, or that it's scary, or that it's hard. It's not. In fact, civilian life is fucking cake compared to military life. So don't ever be afraid or ever think that because you're a trigger puller or anything that you'll amount to nothing, because that's what I was. And I'm fucking living the life right now. Own my own home. I'm a pro wrestler, YouTuber, college graduate. Whatever I want to fucking do, I do. And it's because of the work ethic that you develop in the Marine Corps or in the military. You are like 30 miles ahead of any civilian. Because I remember even just when I first got out, my first job, my, bosses and coworkers were always telling me to calm down, relax. You don't have to get it done so quickly. Because you tell me to do something, I get it done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's how, my whole adult life was.
Yeah.
Up until that, So it was like my bosses were having a hard time finding shit for me to do. Because I would get it done.
You have a project that takes 3-4 days and you get it done within 2-3 hours.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like, okay, what else do you got? It's like, can you stop? Like, I don't have anything else. Like, you know what I mean? But I have to justify your paycheck. So it's like, just take your time. Can you do that? And I'm just like, yeah. And then I would get it done quick again. And I was like, I did it slower. Like, what do you, like, they're like, no, like, stop, like, calm down. And I'm like, I am. Like, I'm not trying hard. So So don't ever be scared like of getting out, because I know when I was getting out, like I was a grunt, and that was one of the things like your leadership would tell you or something like, "What are you gonna do? You're a trigger puller." Like, it's either police officer or not. No, no, it's not. Um, Pay attention to the classes you get on your way out, and because it sets you up, and that's I think one of the things. Like when I was getting out, the out process where you go through like resume building and all
Taps and
taps,
steps.
yes, sorry, it's been like 20 years.
TRS, taps and steps.
Yeah. uh when I was going through all that and they're teaching you resume building and all that, I'd say about 98% of the people in that room were asleep, and I'm there taking all the notes. And oh, okay, it teaches you how to word and how to transition what you did in the infantry or whatever to civilian life. So it's like team leader, you're a team leader in the civilian world. Squad leader, you're a supervisor. Platoon sergeant, you're a manager. You know what I mean? So like I can say I was a manager of like 48 employees. Like what kind of manager can say that in the civilian world? Zero. You know what I mean? You're managing like 10 people, 15 people max. You know what I mean? Like you're like it's 48. What?
Wow.
And you're managing millions and millions of dollars worth of government federal equipment.
Yeah, that was big for us in radio, like $4 or $5 million worth of radio communication equipment.
Yeah, it's all about wording what you did in military life and putting it in a civilian
I will say
kind of wording. And if you know how to word it, you'll sound like fucking Superman on your fucking resumes.
I will say when I went through taps and steps, I knew I was okay because I went in with the utmost enthusiasm, thinking I'm about to learn something. Like, oh, they're gonna teach me some secrets. It's been 7 years since I've been out. Like
they do, man. They teach you the best stuff.
Well,
the thing I see is like, veterans get out and they're homeless or they have hard time finding a job or they can't get a job. And I'm like, probably because you didn't fucking pay attention. You weren't fucking listening to the classes. Because I've worked in employment, worked with people with disabilities when I got out too. And when I first got out too, even though I was good with resumes and stuff, I still went to the Veteran Employment Center. And even the other veterans that were there had no fucking clue what they were doing. No fucking clue. And to me, I'm a platoon sergeant, and I was staff sergeant. So when I see fellow like veterans and they're like struggling with it, I'm like, yeah, because you didn't fucking pay attention, did you? Like you weren't listening in taps or anything like that, and now you're fucked. You know what I mean? Like,
so like I was saying, I thought I was gonna learn something, and turns out I knew 95% of the things that they were teaching. And it's because when I went in at 21. So I had like 4 years worth of living as a civilian, doing all of that. So I kind of, and I went to college, so I learned a lot before I went in, and I thought maybe there's more, but no, the shit that you learn, like basic adulting with the work ethic of a Marine, of like coming out, and the basic shit that they teach you in taps and steps is like you said, it sets you up for success.
Yeah, and I didn't have any of that, like, because again, 2 weeks out of high school, I was in the Marines for 10 years, so my whole adult life was just military. Yeah. You know what I mean?
So you learned some shit, and that's fucking amazing.
And I'll tell anybody straight out of high school, to me, my opinion, the best thing you can do is go to the military right out of high school. It sets you up. Even if you just do the 4 years, it sets you up for life.
Is it Israel and South Korea that you have to do 2 years mandatory?
Yes. Yeah. Israeli army. Yep. Every civilian has to.
I am not against that.
I'm not either.
Let you do the 2 years mandatory, and then you can sign for the other 2.
Yeah, because like I tell people, like, what are you gonna do after high school? work at a fucking mall or, like you're not going to have a great job right out of high school. You're probably not going to be able to make it on your own. You know what I mean? You'll go to college and you'll be in debt. Because I went to college after the Marine Corps and I saw everybody else struggling. I didn't struggle because I didn't have kids or anything. Because I went to OTA school, right? And eventually there's a part of the college where you have to do an internship. So you're working full time, 5 days out of the week, wherever they send you, whatever hospital or whatever thing, I actually did my internship at the VA, but like you're working for free, full time. Because I was in the military, didn't have to pay for college. In fact, I got paid to go to college and I was working full time. So I was making bank just going to college. Couldn't say that for any civilian.
No.
They struggled,
yeah,
especially a single mom. Once it became time to do their internship, they were stressing because they were like, I need to work. I cannot work full time for free. How am I going to do this? You know what I mean? Straight struggling, wondering if they're even going to pass college because of this damn internship part. You know what I mean? So again, that's just another thing that the military sets you up for. Bought a house, 0 down payment, VA home loan, college paid for, benefits, medical, dental, that I don't have to pay for right now. You know what I mean? Just like, what more could I ask for? You know what I mean? My job now, there's people that have to pay for medical, dental, insurance. I don't. I already have all that. You know what I mean? So I'm like, decline, because I get all that for free. And they're like, what? And they're like, you're lucky. I was like, no, I'm not lucky. I had to work my ass off for that.
They have no idea.
Yeah.
They have no idea.
So, anytime people say like, oh, you're lucky, I'm like, no, I worked hard for that. Okay. Like, this wasn't just given to me or thrown in my lap. I've been through some shit. I worked my ass off. My body's paying for it now, but you know what?
Say the least. You went to 4 years of college. You got some debt, dude. I had to literally stab an amputee in the knee.
Right?
With morphine. That's why he went. Ooh. That's a doc made you give him morphine.
Yeah, man. So that's the one thing. Like, even the other college kids would even say, "Oh, you're lucky." No, I worked my ass off for this. You didn't. You know what I mean? Like, so, but yeah. So like after the military, like I said, first things first was I had to have a backup plan. So while I was going through the TAPS or whatever it's called, I was going through truck driving school. And I got there, I was like, you basically graduate at your own pace. It wasn't like, it was just like, yeah, as long as you can pass all this, like you graduate at your own pace. Cool. What's the fastest this ever been done? And he was like, they're like, oh, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, maybe. And I was like, I'm going to do it in 2. And they were like, they laughed because it was a bunch of former Marines too that worked there as instructors. And I was, because it was in San Clemente, like right outside Camp Pendleton, so I was like, I'm going to do it too. And literally because I'm always setting goals like that, crazy stuff, like that's just my nature. That's all I did was study all day, every day. I was at that school all day because it wasn't a set time. They were like, no, we're open from this time to this time. You come in, learn it yourself. We help you along the way, and then we help you get enrolled to take your driving test, and that's it. So I'm like, cool. Dude, I went and memorized all the, how to do the inspection of the truck. Like, that was easy. Got that done in a couple days because I didn't have a job. That was my job, was being there. So that's all I did all day, every day and I got it done in 2 weeks, passed my driving test, everything. Bam. Cool. Came back here into town, slept on. And while I was doing that, I was sleeping on a friend's floor. just on the floor, no betting or anything, just straight up every day, 2 weeks. That's just how I was. If I
That still probably felt better than anything you did overseas.
oh yeah, and also too,
Anything overseas, just like
yeah, and also too, I use that for motivation because nobody's gonna motivate me. I have to motivate myself. So if I want to get off this floor, I need to get out of this school. I need to graduate as fast as I can. And my buddy offered me the couch and stuff. No, I'm gonna sleep on the floor because this hurts.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, so I'm like, that's my motivation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Get off this floor.
Yeah.
And then once I came back here into town, into Tucson, I slept on my now ex-wife's mom's floor. We moved in with her mom, and I slept on the floor there for a little while until I enrolled myself in college and bought myself a house and got a job working on the Air Force Base as a tool parts attendant full-time. So that's overnight. So I went to college full-time and then overnight full-time. So I got 3 hours of sleep for 2 years until I graduated every night. And while I was doing that, like I said, I actually got into pro wrestling while I was still in the Marines when I was working at SOI. So
Yeah, so let's talk about that because since we're like, the show is mostly about getting to know the veteran. Like after last week with my buddy Scotty, he's a realtor. After being 0311,
yeah.
he was 8 years. He got out 13. I want to say 2013. So he got in 05. So, and he was in Pendleton. I don't remember what unit. I gotta ask him or watch the last episode. But long story short, you're a pro wrestler.
Yeah.
So let's hear some about that. Tell me, like you said, you got into wrestling. Did
so
you go to
yeah,
wrestling school out there?
Yeah, because back then wrestling was still protected. I still didn't even know that there was wrestling schools or that you had to go through a wrestling school to be a wrestler because I only knew of WWE and WCW and ECW.
Mm-hmm.
No idea there was an independent scene. Nowadays, everybody knows you got to go through wrestling school. There's a huge independent scene. Wrestling's huge now. It wasn't that back then. But I remember my buddy, I was at SOI, so I wasn't like at a unit. So I kind of had like a 9-to-5 job. I actually had free time. I wasn't like out in the field for months and months at a time,
Even if you go out to the field with the SOI Marines, you guys literally are just on shift.
Yeah. So it wasn't a big deal.
I'll cover them from fucking 20 to midnight, and then I'll come in late tomorrow.
Easy. It was like having a 9-to-5 job. Compared to being in the infantry, like it was a cakewalk. It was like having a civilian job. So I was like, cool. Like I have my weekends. I have holy shit. I get off at 5:00 every day. Well, this is cool. Yeah. This is awesome. So I was like, my buddy actually who lives in Phoenix, he got me to go to a wrestling school with him, and I was like, nah, I'm good, man. Like, oh, come on, because we were both wrestling fans, like huge wrestling fans. On deployment, we'd buy the DVDs and watch them on deployment. And I just remember, like, come on, it'd be fun. You should try it with me. I'm gonna go. He saw it on MySpace, like this in San Diego, and I'm like, I'm good. He's like, come on, man, we've always wanted to do it. I was like, all right. He dragged me to do it. I did it. I was a natural at it because a lot of the falls and stuff you do and the rolls you learn in McMap. Mm-hmm. So I already knew how to do all that and how to bump or how to fall and roll and like all this stuff. So it was very natural. And they're like, I was like, that's all right. Like, it was cool being in the ring, but not for me. And they were like, what do you mean? They were like, you were natural at this.
All right. If you're wondering why there's an outfit change in the middle of this scene, well, we took a break.
Because he's got special powers.
Yeah.
He can snap and...
Yeah. We took a break, and then we decided to go chase... Not UFOs. What was it you were calling them?
They're UAPs.
UAPs.
Glowing orbs in the sky.
Okay, so before we get into your career in wrestling, we're going to kind of take a little detour.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me what we just went through. because I'm still trying to process what we.
So
what we
I
just did.
wanted to take him out but fittingly, hurry up and wait. Like I said, we were supposed to film this earlier in the afternoon, or like around 4. But he had some I don't know, late start, and then we're talking and talking and talking, and next thing we know, it's late at night. We're like, oh shit, we actually have to film something. And then while we were filming, we realized, shit, I promised that for his video too, I would also take him out because you want to know more about the vets and their personal life and what they're doing now. Well, one of the things I'm doing now and I'm very into is UFO, UAP, whatever you want to call it, investigations. And one of the things here in Tucson that is very prevalent are orb UAPs, like energy balls of. Yeah, I've also seen non-energy ones and just metallic spheres too. I've only seen one, and I've seen one alien being that can shapeshift from those metal orbs into a snake, and then into what I showed you. The final thing was like this man-looking outline thing. I don't know. It's weird. I'll send him the picture. You can post it. But
It just clicked to me. This giant serpent thing. What if this was what the Chinese saw as dragons, or the Norse who saw as dragons? Because I always wanted dragons to exist, but if this shape-shifting beings are out there, that's not too far-fetched of an idea.
No, man, there's jellyfish. Like I was showing you a couple. There's jellyfish, Tic Tacs, orbs, something they call the Hornet, gas blob things that are alive. Yeah. So it could be anything. Like you said, Jeff was saying he saw serpents. I saw a metallic snake type looking thing. Like, I don't know.
When you say gas, I'm looking at the Rick and Morty Pickle Rick poster on your wall, and all I think is FOD. I like that name.
Yeah. But yeah, so like we realized, oh shit, I was supposed to take you out UFO hunting because they come out at specific throughout the year. They appear in certain specific places around the city at specific times. So the times change and locations change depending on what month of the year it is. But right now, we're here in Tucson. They were about where the Mount Lemon is, I would say.
That's Mount Lemon?
/ Catalina.
Okay.
Mountain. Yeah. The whole big,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in Tucson, that's Mount Lemon. Right behind it and to the side, to the left, is the Catalina. So we were seeing them kind of in between Mount Lemon and Catalina area. But yeah, I took them out. My buddy Jeff Woolwine, you can see his YouTube channel. Just type in Jeff Woolwine, and it's called Phoenix Lights, Tucson Lights, or something like that.
The link will be in the description.
Yeah, and then yeah, we went out. He was on the first ever episode of Ancient Aliens,
Mm-hmm.
and he's the first one who kind of related hieroglyphics or petroglyphics and related to what we're seeing in the skies. He went hiking and he realized, hey, these ancient Native Americans are drawing themselves like this in this position, looking up, and above there's orbs. And they drew these on rocks in the mountains where we to this day, thousands of years later, see them come out and appear above. So he made the connection that like, just look up from where these rocks are and you'll see what they were drawing. These orbs that appear out of nowhere. He was like, they're not exaggerating when these drawings, these drawings aren't metaphors for anything. They're literally, it's like they didn't have cameras back then,
All they could do is pick up a fucking rock and scratch
and just look and just kind of
maybe get some carbon from a fire.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was dark rock. You find these petroglyphs on like really dark rock because they're easy to scratch, and then it's like light, right? Yeah, so yeah, this kind of like whenever you see dark chalky rock, but they're all over those mountains where we saw these orbs appear. So they're literally drawing what they saw, and they also not only draw them worshiping these orbs, but they draw the spiral. And I googled like what the spiral means on those petroglyphs, and it's a portal to the underworld, the afterlife, you know. Um, so I'm like, man, are these things coming from the afterlife? Is that what they believe, that these things are coming from the afterlife and going back? What's weird too is the Native Americans that wrote those, that drew those, are the Hohokam. The Hohokam used to live. Do you know anything about what happened to the Hohokam?
Didn't they just disappear?
Yeah. So you're telling me the same Native Americans that drew those and looking up and worshiping these orbs all of a sudden just disappeared. They vanished without a trace, unlike any other civilization. You know, they didn't die out.
Wasn't the Aztecs also? Where was it? There was one.
I know there's
Aztecs or
probably
Mayan
else.
that they just up and disappeared.
Yeah, and that didn't happen. You know what I mean? They either should have migrated or died out. Even so, you would have seen some sort of
evidence trace.
Yeah, but everything they had and built was just left as is. They didn't take nothing with them. That wasn't common to do when you're, you know, going from place to place, or, you know, to survive and follow, like, you know, the animals, you know. Yeah, they just disappeared. And they're thinking, you know, these things are from the after. Did it take them to the afterlife? Did it take them to some sort of alternate dimension or reality or whatever? Like, who knows? But when you start looking at it that way, it's just, some things just start to match. And
there's definitely an explanation.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious to see what it is. Maybe we're lucky and it's not something that's like the mystery was better than the answer.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, Jeff, he believes they're not good. Those things we saw tonight. He, after, you know, he read, he's very he read their religion and stuff like that, and he said, so if you take that and you add in what they're seeing and you take in what their religion said, he's like, those are the fallen angels. Those things came in and took them, and he's all, they're not good. Like, you know, those are fallen angels. They're not good beings. So he believes that what we saw tonight, those orbs and stuff, he's all, they're not good. And I know you saw the Air Force out there flying around and their helicopters kind of chasing them off, and, you know, always being in the general area. He believes that because those are Air Force planes and Air Force helicopters, he believes they know all about these things, and they're out there every night because they're bad, and they're kind of like keeping them at bay and away from us. That's what he believes. So I'm like,
wild.
Huh.
Before, the universe is too big for us to be alone. So whether it's a portal to another dimension or alien beings, whatever it is, as long as somebody proves it and we stop denying it, I'm willing to believe it. I just need to not be the one who decides I'm going to disprove it, because I don't, like I told you.
Disprove what? Like, we saw it firsthand. There's no doubt that it's real.
I mean disprove like that exists, but I don't want to be the first explorer that goes to shake the alien's hand and he just eats me.
See, I want to be that person.
I don't. I want to.
That's why I'm studying this, and
I want to be the 100th Spartan, or the 299th Spartan, where everybody died, but he went back and told the story.
So like that, and again, like, so that's what I've been up to, like, outside the military. I'm gonna be starting videos on my YouTube channel, because I normally just post my pro wrestling videos and my gaming, you know, or some unboxing. So YouTube content creation is what I've been doing. But what I wanted to start like getting into and maybe start like its own series on my channel, like other than gaming and stuff.
What's your channel?
It is it's Chris Evans 66.
All right.
And it's my pro wrestling matches and my gaming videos. I have a lot of friends on there sometimes.
We'll definitely put the link below.
Yeah, and we do drunk plays, so we get drunk and play retro games like NES, Super Nintendo, like all the old games. So yeah, we get drunk and then we'll play some like super old school games, and I have like a whole wall over there full of every generation of
Tell me you have a Wii U and a game of Splatoon that you're not using right now.
I don't have the Wii U.
I'm glad I ordered one because for my kid's birthday.
I have the Wii. I don't have, and the Switch. I don't have the Wii U.
Did you put a reserve on
Fuck Switch no. Too? Fuck no. I am not supporting Nintendo this time around. No way, dude. $80 games and now more expensive console. They broke that ceiling, and now look at what happened. Now Xbox is up to $80 games. I'm like, you motherfuckers! I knew it.
I'm definitely going to get the Switch 2 for Mario Kart the way I have Wii for Super Smash, and that's it.
Those are the only game.
That's the only game I have on my Wii is Super Smash. Do I need anything else? Absolutely not. Do I need anything else besides Mario Kart because they're not making Super Smash on Nintendo Switch? Absolutely not. So I'm straight. It's going to be...
Well, they totally ruined the whole gaming industry. They now made it 10 times more expensive.
No, it's not over. Guess what got delayed for a year? It's coming out May of next year. You think Nintendo broke it? Nah, that's the leak. That's the crack before the flood happens. Because GTA, Grand Theft Auto 6, is going to come out in a year. And
it's going to be $100
for the base game. For the paper with the code. Not even the disc.
Did you see that's what Nintendo's doing too? They're selling boxes with fake discs in it. I'm like, you motherfuckers.
I know. And as much
as not worth anything.
As much as I don't want to support Nintendo, I'm gonna get me the Switch 2 just for Mario Kart.
No, I'm gonna teach them a lesson.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm not supporting that.
What they call them, a scad?
They always make their products with the cheapest fucking materials.
What do you mean?
It's more expensive than anything else.
You didn't see that 1080p fucking camera on a stick?
Yeah. It's like, and Sony comes out with a camera like that. You know what I mean? That can live stream and like all kinds of shit. And it's like half the price.
Dude,
you know what I mean? Like Nintendo has always been way more expensive than Sony and Xbox, when Sony and Xbox are actually spending millions of dollars of, making these like high quality, like crazy ass graphics game. And then here's Nintendo at 720p with barely any art in their video games or textures. And it's like twice as expensive and never goes on sale.
They got Cyberpunk though.
At like 720p. No textures.
I will say I did not think it was going to be Nintendo. Like in my head, I quoted Julius Caesar et tu Nintendo.
I knew Nintendo's a greedy ass company.
I thought that they were going to.
When it comes to consumers, Nintendo's like the worst towards their consumers.
They are consistent with it. They this is gonna suck.
I've always hated them.
Yeah.
But I still play the games.
Before we absolutely divulge and open up a whole nother third video about video games, because Lord knows we can do that. Tell me about your career, your professional wrestling career. How many years have you been doing it? Tell me, what was it like when you started, where you're at now.
Like I said, it was earlier. I was kind of like, I went to the first practice. My buddy, we were in the Marines together, and at the time I was working at SOI, still a Marine, and he dragged me to a wrestling practice, and I was like, not for me. I was like, this is kind of like for kids, and this is really dumb. It's cool being in a wrestling ring for the first time. Dream come true, but wasn't what I expected. It was way too easy.
Whose school was it?
It was New Wave Pro Wrestling in Southern California.
They don't
San
exist
Diego.
anymore. They don't exist anymore.
No. That was old, a long time ago. So I've been wrestling 18 years now, but
Shit.
yeah. So that was a very long time ago. But yeah, like one of the guys that was there was like, "Why are you quitting? Like you're a natural at this." Like, and I'm like, "It's like for kids. It's not hard, or it's like easy." Because I knew the bumps, I knew the rolls, I knew the falls, all because of it's the same falls and rolls we learned in McMap in the Marine Corps. So I already knew how to do it when they had me do it. As far as the moves go, I was natural. Like I learned the entire universal spot in one night. Whereas like when I teach it now, it could take 2 months to teach somebody how to do the universal spot. You know what I mean? Like I learned that in one night. So they didn't want me to quit, even though I was like, this is too easy. I'm like, no. And they were like, you had the time. I was there, and I remember my trainer was like, "What do you want then?" And I was like, "I don't know. I just thought it would be harder." And they're like, "You want it fucking hard? All right, like we'll make it fucking hard for you." Like, and then so the next practice I went to, man, they fucked me up, dude. Like I had bruises everywhere. I felt like I was in a car accident. Like my neck hurt, my back.
They beat your ass.
Yeah, and like your body isn't used to those falls, so like your muscles that I didn't even know I had hurt, and I was just like,
That's gonna sound so gross when I go over the audio.
it's gonna be dope. That's all the beer. But yeah, like and because again, going back to like earlier, where I was like, I was raised like, I don't know, just to be a hard worker. And it's like, if something, like I said, even just joining the military, who's the best? Okay, well, that's the hardest to get into. All right, I'm going that one. You know what I mean? Like, I've always liked a challenge. I've always pushed myself. And if it's too easy, then it's probably not worth doing. You know what I mean? Like, I've always liked to challenge myself. And so, like, that felt like a challenge. I was like, oh, okay, this shit just got real. This is actually really is tough. I like it,
Okay.
So that's kind of like I stuck with it, and I've been doing it ever since. And yeah, I started off as a referee just to get my foot in the door under a mask for a lucha show. And then one day, because I kept traveling to different shows and helping setting up and tear down, and I would go somewhere
Paying
and
your
like,
dues.
yeah, and they're like, who the fuck are you? Well, there's no internet. Well, I mean, there was, but like YouTube wasn't really a big thing or whatever when I first got started. But they were like, you got tape, kid? No, I haven't had a match before. Oh, okay, well, come back when you have like tape. If every place is telling me I need to have tape, who's gonna be the first one to allow me to get tape?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Can you just like trust that I'm... So I would go to every show, help set up. But I think what would get me noticed was if the guys in the ring needed like to show somebody how to do a move, they would use me as a dummy. I'm like, okay, yeah, I could do it. And they're like, you can take that? And I was like, yeah. And I would take some whatever crazy moves like people were doing on me and selling it. And that's also how I got another foot in the door, because they're like, well, he seems to be able to like take that shit, when we're all fucking him up, like doing these moves. And then I was reffing. So one day I was reffing. And then I go to a show, and like the promoter was like, came up to me all stressed out. Like, hey, you got your stuff? You got your gear? I'm like, yeah, my ref shirt's like in the back locker room. All I need to do is put it on. No big deal. Like, why are you stressing? And no, your wrestling gear. Do you have your wrestling gear? And I was like, really? Yeah, it's in the car. And he's like, well, hurry up and get it on. You're on in 5 minutes. I'm like, oh, fuck. And I went, and my first match was against a luchador, because it was sort of a lucha show. And it was against a luchador who didn't speak English.
Oh.
So my first match is lucha, and I won't be able to communicate or like how we normally do in wrestling.
You got thrown to the wolves.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh fuck, and he doesn't speak English, so I'm like, how am I gonna talk to him? I asked the referee because he spoke. He was El Zebra. He's like a legend. He was like some 70-year-old like referee under a mask. He's a legend at the time. And what's it called? I asked him. I was like, "Can you ask him what the finish is?" And he goes, "Oh, okay." And he goes, and he comes back. He says, "You'll know when you see it." I'm like,
Oh, they were so fucking with you.
okay. So I went out there and we literally had a match with zero like communication, just fucking working, and it was it felt good, like it was going well, like it was like a fight. And then at some point he picked me up on his shoulder and helicopter spun me and did like a Wade Barrett wasteland type move on me, flipped me over, slammed me down. He went to the top and did a swanton, boom. And I'm like, I don't know, that seems like it was a finish, so I didn't kick out. And that was it. And what's it called? I got to the back and he was like super happy and he was like, that was good, shaking my hand. And the promoter later on, like gave me $5. And he's like, oh, he's like, that was good, and he was very happy with it, and he said that you were very good. He's already free next weekend, and I was like, yeah, and he's like, okay, like I'm gonna book you for now on, and
Fuck yeah.
that's how I got my start. Like, so it
And
took
what promotion was this?
LLII.
Where's that?
It's in Oceanside, I think, is where
it-
they used to.
Is it still around?
I don't think so. But
Man, promotions come and go.
yeah, especially after 18 years, man, I've seen a lot. But no, this, like I said, he would. It was a lucha show, and that's how I got my start. So I actually, since I was, I guess, only wrestling luchadors, since the American companies won't give me a shot without tape, um, I have to learn lucha libre. So I looked for a lucha libre school, and it happened to be one of them that one of the wrestlers that were on the card all the time had his own like lucha school. He's an old veteran, stocky, buff dude, and yeah, he invited me to go train with him. So I went and I finished his so I got trained in American and lucha style. Um, and yeah, that's how I got to work luchas, and then I built up tape, and then I hit up other promotions, and other promotions started being like, hell yeah, like bring it here, bring it there, bring it there. And so yeah, and then what's it called? Eventually I came to Arizona, started wrestling out here. So I started out in Southern California and wrestled in, all over the West Coast, California, Arizona, Nevada, Colorado, Texas, Utah, Tijuana, Mexico, Nogales, Mexico, New Mexico, you name it. Like that just traveled everywhere. And now I'm kind of close to the end of my career, 18 years on top of 10 years in the Marine Corps infantry. My body is fucked. And so I don't know how much longer I'm going to keep doing this, but yeah, I pretty much am at the tail end of my career, I'd say. Like maybe I got a good year or two left, and I think I'm gonna call it quits.
You don't want to retire the same year fucking Navajo Warrior does. He's gonna take all your thunder.
Yeah, he's I gotta hold off a little bit.
He's on his goodbye tour right now for this year.
Yeah, he
Him
is.
and John Cena. So, do you really want to retire with John Cena and Navajo? Nobody's gonna know.
I don't think anybody will know regardless.
Like last year was Vampiro, and he's still wrestling. He had his goodbye retirement tour with AAA, and for those who don't know, AAA is like the WWE of Mexico. Not lie, that's CMLL.
Yeah.
AAA is like AEW, the second big company.
Yeah, and then yeah, and also with pro wrestling, now that I'm like at the end of my career, I started a wrestling school during COVID because I was like, I need to do something. And I was one of those people that just didn't believe all the COVID stuff they were saying on the news, and it turned out I was right. But what's it called? I was just like, posted online that I was like, hey, I'm going to do a wrestling school. I was like, if you want to go, a couple people were like, hell yeah, let's do it. But aren't you afraid of like COVID? I was like, we're outside. We're good. Because they were like, you can't be indoors with more than like 5 people.
Whose house was that ring in?
One of Prophet's buddies.
Oh, I remember
Yeah.
Prophet had
Yeah,
a
yeah.
fat stack of mats outside. Is this still there?
No. We actually do it at Gray's now. So, but
The ring's in her backyard.
yeah, because she doesn't have an HOA, so they won't let me put a ring in my backyard. So, otherwise, I would. Damn HOA.
I hate HOAs.
Stay away from HOAs.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so now I teach it. And I've had a couple graduates, about what, 5? No, maybe like 8 or 9 graduates so far.
When I came in and I met you, it was me,
There was like
Chubby, Ricky, Austin. Then you had one kid with the afro who came after.
4. Yeah.
And then was there another one besides those 3? Chubby, Ricky. Oh,
I mean,
Will.
a lot of come and go.
Will Kennedy. You were training Will for a while there.
Yeah, for a little bit. Yeah.
Then those are the 4. But then Will's off at HIW. Austin's off into the unknown. Ricky's hurt and Chubby's AWF champion.
Okay, let's.
3 or 4 students is a champion.
All
Not
of them.
bad in 250.
All of them have been champions. Everyone.
No,
every student I've had that's graduated from me has won a title in less than a year.
The world heavyweight champion.
Chubby's the world.
Yeah, he's the world. He has
in a couple promotions.
Yeah, I know Ricky's won titles for sure.
Oh yeah, every single one of my students that I've given a certificate to has won a championship in less than a year. So
Okay, so maybe
I just got 2 more new graduates. Let's see if they can do it. Keep the streak going. Win a championship less than a year. And now I got 2 more students, 2 new ones that just started. Yesterday or the day before? Yesterday. So big guy and a short stocky dude, and I think they're after their first day. I can tell, like if they're gonna get it or not. Like on first day, they're gonna get it. Like they're good, different sizes, but even so, like it's like I can tell they're picking it up quick for that first day.
Fuck yeah.
So pretty stoked with the new ones that came in. So
okay, so maybe retire next year. Got the school. I mean, if we recap, because we talked about a lot. You kind of went nowhere until you said, "Let me join the military." You've seen some shit.
what do you mean I went nowhere? I was literally out of high school. I wasn't homeless or nothing.
No. What I mean is like you didn't
it's
have
not
a
like
future.
I had a dead end career.
You didn't have.
I went nowhere.
You weren't going anywhere except the military.
2 weeks out of high school, I was in the military.
Okay, so let me rephrase.
I wasn't going nowhere for 2 weeks.
The plan was the military.
I was at the lake for those 2 weeks
because you had no other plans. Is that fair? You had no other plans, so you said, "All right, I'm going in the military."
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go with that. Then, while in the military, you seen some shit that no kid should see. But you did. You came out alive.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people
that was just a boy. I actually turned 18 in Iraq. Yeah.
Fucking
August.
My buddy, he got blown up on his birthday in Iraq.
Nice.
So, and that's Scott from the first episode. We talked about that too. I feel like that's going to be a trend. That's going to be like a minute clip of everything. You were blown up by an IED. Everybody I'm going to interview is like, yeah.
Yeah.
But, so you've seen some shit, done some shit. And then on your way out, you decided, you're going to do things with your life, your CDL and pro wrestling.
Yeah.
I mean,
associate's degree in occupational science.
So,
YouTuber, content creator, pro wrestler. UFO investigator.
Yes, UFO investigator. So all
All
these
kinds of stuff.
things. Now to try to close out the show, talk about these topics. Like, and you did it in the beginning where you kind of gave the advice of, uh, don't let them tell you no when you're ready to get out. So what I like to do with this part of the show is, what would you tell somebody who wants to come in? What would you tell somebody that's in? And what do you tell somebody who's about to get out, which I feel is probably the most important? You know, you're about to get out and hit the real world. What advice would you give them? So
All right. So,
for somebody who's about to go in, let's start with that one.
yeah, for somebody who's about to go in, I would basically say volunteer for everything. Lead by example. If you don't know how to do something, try it anyways. If you're gonna fail, be confident in doing it. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
know that one.
I can't tell you how many times that saved me. It's like, even if you fucked up, be confident about it, and nobody will know you fucked up. I did an attack one time, live fire, and we started behind this big giant boulder. You're supposed to go out the right side of the boulder, but for whatever reason, I went out the left side, so I'm actually off the live fire range.
Mm-hmm.
As we're running out and online, I realized the targets are over there. So we're doing a safety violation now because we're live rounds pointed off range.
Mm-hmm.
And I call an audible to wagon wheel the squad around and then start shooting the targets like off the range where we're not supposed to be shooting from.
Mm-hmm.
But we're hitting it. Boom, boom. We finish the attack, egress out. And as they come up to me and like the lieutenant's like debriefing me and they're like, why would you do that? Like, you know, you did that wrong, right? And I was like, no, I didn't, sir. And he was like, how do you mean you didn't like come out I was like, sir, why would I go out that way? Just right in front of the enemy. Makes no sense. This isn't the Civil War. We don't just march like right on through the fire. Like, we're going to get killed. I was like, so I decided to flank them with a surprise ambush. You know, and I just totally like bullshitted my way. And he looks and he's like, oh, all right. Well, good job then.
Oh no, one of our lights are dead. Hang on. Oh. Where were we?
I don't know.
Oh, you're bullshitting the lieutenant.
Oh yeah. So like I said, even though I fucked up and totally was a safety violator on a range, live fire range, I made it appear that I purposely did that tactically and had a good tactical reason for it. For violating safety violations and all that stuff.
You know, he knew you were full of shit.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He believed me. Like, he was like, all right, fair enough. And he just like, he just let me go. And I'm like, yep. And like, that's how I did my whole career. If I fucked up or if I was saying something wrong, I was damn sure confident about it. You know? And you believed me that I was right. You know what I mean? Just because I had so much conviction and confidence in what I was saying. Bullshit that was coming out of my mouth.
Okay, so then now we got people who are in, right?
People who are in.
First,
my advice was just never half-ass anything. Do everything to the best of your ability. And one of the sayings I've always taken to heart was, know yourself and seek self-improvement. That is one thing I've always kept to heart my entire Marine Corps career. So anything I was not efficient at, I made sure to get efficient at it. It's like knowing your shortcomings and fucking work on it. You know what I mean? What are my weak areas? Okay, well, I'm going to work on it. So yeah, I would say do that, like do all of your schooling, and the second you pick up rank, do everything you need to do academically. Like I forget what those books were called that you have to do to pick up.
Oh, you needed to get them done for promotion and stuff like that.
Yes, get those done as soon as you pick up.
God, I forgot what those things are called.
MCIs.
I think so.
Yeah, MCIs. I think
MCIs.
core instruction or something.
Something, bro. Oh my God, you made me like unlock. Remember that traumatizing memory, subconscious thing? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, dude. I don't know, man. Like I said, it's been like over 30 years ago, so I don't know, man.
It has not been 30 years.
No?
We're going on
20?
20s.
Okay.
Like, chill.
I don't know, man. But yeah, so get those done, man. As soon as you pick up,
All right.
knock them out. Get your schooling done.
So probably the most important one, in my opinion, is what do we tell the boys who are about to come out?
Pay the fuck attention in TAPS class. Do not go to sleep. Pay attention. Learn how to do your resume. Learn how to transfer your skills from the military to civilian life. That is what's going to save you ultimately. All right. Don't be afraid to get out. Don't think that you're not going to be good at anything. Because I thought the same thing. As a grunt, what kind of job can I get? Police, I don't want to do that. I've been shot at enough. Border Patrol, no thank you. Like, same thing. So it's like, when I got out, I was getting offered managerial jobs and all kinds of different fields. And it was because I knew how to word my resume, like from TAPS class. I wasn't a squad leader. I was a supervisor, when I'm writing it on a resume. I wasn't a platoon sergeant. I was a manager. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it was listening to TAPS. That's how I knew how to word it. You know what I mean? So don't skip TAPS, man. Don't sleep on that shit. And know that you can do anything, because I used to also think that because of my low grades in high school and barely being able to pass high school, that I would never be able to be smart enough to do college. And I was wrong. And who talked to me? One of my buddies talked me into going to college because I was like, "No." Nah. He's like, "Well, why don't you go why don't you go to college?" "No, I'm not smart enough to do that." And he's like, "Yeah, you are." They're like, "Dude, you've been through like some of the hardest schools in the military. Like, you've done this, you've done that." And it's like, I never thought of it that way. I have. He's like, "I have been through some tough schools." He's all, "Yeah." He's all, "You think they're gonna do that to you in college? You think they're gonna sleep deprive you and like keep you up in like cold weather, like, and just like gas you at night and then have you do a test the next morning?" You know what I mean?
Hit you with a bucket of cold freezing water.
Yeah, like throw gas grenades in your sleeping bag, like you think they're gonna be doing that to you all night and then have you do like a test after a 6-mile run? Like, I'm like, you're right. If I can memorize all that stuff and be like being stressed out and physically like, mentally broken down, I'm like, yeah, you're right. I can. Okay. And then I went and did it. And sure enough, yeah, college was not bad at all. I was like, holy shit, I am smart. Yeah. The military did teach me some discipline that I didn't, because I'm thinking before, you know what I mean? My high school, there was no discipline. There was no, all the life lessons I learned. I grew up, you know what I mean? I'm not a dumb high school kid anymore. I'm like, yeah, I never thought of that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you're right, dude. I have changed. Yeah, you're right. I have been through some hard schools. Like, what, college ain't going to do that to me. You're right. Like, and, so yeah. And then, like I said, whatever you want to do it. Don't put off on it. And that's kind of like how you're doing this thing here too, because I was telling you, don't put it off. Like, don't stop planning. Just do it.
Yeah.
Do it. Start now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I mean, yeah.
And now you're doing it. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you want to do something, just fucking do it. That's how I've been with everything. I want to be in the military. Bam, Marine Corps. I want to be a pro wrestler. Bam, I'm doing it. I want to teach pro wrestling. Bam, I'm doing it. I want to do YouTube. Bam, I'm doing it. I want to look into aliens, UFOs. Bam, I'm doing it. I want to get a college degree. Bam, I did it. You know what I mean? Like, I want to learn how to hook up all this mess of cords and learn computers and computer editing and, you know, all this stuff. Bam, I did it. You know what I mean? And I want to learn how to paint. You know, bam, I learned how to do it. You know what I mean? Like, it's literally just my advice is set some goals. Don't say like I want to do it someday. Say I'm gonna do it right now, and do it. You know what I mean? And pay attention to taps.
No,
That's my advice. When you get out, have some goals before you get out. Think ahead, plan ahead, have a plan B, have a plan C. Listen to taps.
mm-hmm.
You want to do something? Go fucking do it, because the skills you learned in the military, you can do anything in the civilian world, because civilian world is a cakewalk. The fucking walk through the park, man.
Fuck yeah.
My life is not on the line every day. I don't have anybody yelling and screaming in my face, waking me up in the middle of the night to pick some dumbass up who was drinking and driving from the police station.
Hear the fly by your head.
Yeah.
Oof.
I just have to worry about me and not 49 other fucking people, and then get my ass chewed because they fucked up. You know what I mean? I'm only responsible for me.
I'm so over that.
And that's why I like civilian life, man. I'm like, it was like, breath of fresh air. Like, I just have to worry about me and my life. Holy shit.
Oh,
Crazy.
with that said,
Easy.
With that said, I did take your word, your advice, and I did it. And here we are.
Yeah, you're doing the damn
like
thing.
my second episode of Hurry Up and Wait. And by the time this airs, I should have at least maybe 3 to 4 more interviews in the pocket ready to roll.
Fuck yeah, dude.
So-
And I'm super happy for you. And this was something like when you came asking me, because like, have you talked about how you started this?
No, I haven't, because I don't really talk about me like that when it comes to things like this. But
So yeah, he was asking like, hey, I want to
go back into service, but
combat
private sector, yeah.
Yeah, and you want to be a cameraman in like the war, and I'm like, bro,
That was another option, yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, bro, you do not want to go back, man. Like we're
some shit.
We're done with that life, man. I was just like, dude, you can still be a part of the service and do something for service member rather than taking pictures. How about you tell stories and listen to stories and get stories told? Same thing, just different medium of doing it. You know,
a lot safer.
Yeah, a lot safer, because I also didn't want to see you go and like get killed and then
the drone we just
the
drone we just flew was taking pictures of the skyline.
Yeah,
it wasn't dropping bombs on people.
Yeah. So, yeah, and you know, we started talking about ideas for shows on YouTube or something we can do, and once we started talking about something like this, like not only like were you excited, but I was excited for you. Yeah. I was like, oh, and then you can do this, and we can do that, and you know, and it's like
piece by piece, we're gonna do it. I got plans,
and then now you're doing it. You know what I mean? So, like I said, that's kind of like what I'm getting at is like, if you want to do something, you can do it. Don't put it off. Don't be like, man, that would be cool if I did do it, or that's a cool idea. You know, somebody should do that. You know, it's like, no, you should do it. Do it now and do it right now. Like, what's stopping you? You know what I mean? Like,
here we are.
Yeah. And it's like the only thing that was stopping you is you and your head. And like, oh, I don't have the, or I don't know if I'd be good at, you know, it's like, I did the same thing when I first started YouTube. Mm-hmm. I was always like, man, somebody should do this or channel or do like a drunk play or like, you know, and it's like, maybe I can do it. I don't know if I'd be good enough. And I put it off and I put it off. And then finally somebody was like, just fucking do it. Who cares? And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I don't know how to do it though. I don't know how to edit. And that's so
Just learn.
once I just started learning and doing it, and I was just like,
Yeah.
next thing I know, I'm just doing it. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. And the same thing with pro wrestling. It's like, you've always wanted to do it. Go fucking do it. All right, I'm going to go do it. You know, what's stopping me? Nothing. Anything I want to do, I do it. You know,
Well, with that being
I'm
said,
glad
Chris,
you're doing it.
or,
Doing the damn thing.
With that being said, Chris, I appreciate you. I'm out of beer already, so I'm gonna.
Me too. I drank all mine.
We're gonna say, yeah. Thanks for closing out the second ever episode of Hurry Up and Wait, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna have a few more. Talked about a few things off camera, so I don't know. We'll see what we plan out. But with that
We've
said,
only scratched the
for
surface.
sure, thank you.
Hey, yeah, man. It was a pleasure. I loved it. I'm sorry if I ramble too much. Just go off on
Whatever.
tangents.
Whatever. It'll make the episode interesting. With that being said, peace.
Well, that was something. Professional wrestler, turned UAP hunter. You know, he's doing a lot. He's juggling a lot of plates. But if anybody can do it, definitely Chris can do it. So glad you guys enjoyed the show. I know probably for someone it wasn't easy, but hey, that's why we do it. You know, share the stories, get to know people, and hopefully help some of you guys. You know, help somebody out there somewhere with this video. That being said, have a good one. Until the next time, hurry up and wait.